A full moon hangs heavy over the horizon, casting a pale, ghostly glow on a fortress that screams absolute doom. But inside, it's not a castle anymore, it's a slaughterhouse. Bodies are stacked like firewood, painting the cold stone floors in crimson. A voice cuts through the silence, spitting the name Ravis Bendica like it's poison. Center stage, amidst the carnage, one survivor clings to life on his knees. He's hacked to pieces, coughing up blood, wheezing out a warning. You think, you can just walk away from a massacre like this. Looming over him is Ravis. Red horns, demonic swagger, looking at the dying man like he's something stuck to his boot. He just smirks. Did the Hilt family really think they could play dirty in the dark forever? I knew everything. He clenches a fist, dripping with gore. Massacre, please. This was a necessary cleanup. A straight-up execution. And I did it for the glory of the Bendica name, he declares, his voice shaking the walls. Purple energy flares around him, silencing the survivor's final scream with a single brutal strike. That scream marks the end of an era. Smash cut to later, and the mighty Ravis is dragged into the throne room, shackled like a dog. A booming voice echoes from the shadows. You absolute moron. You reckless, arrogant fool. I told you to bring me proof of their betrayal, Ravis, not wipe the entire bloodline off the map. You're destabilizing the whole underworld. Stepping into the light is Gamadir Bendica, the Demon King, and he is livid. This is Ravis's own father, staring down at his son, who's currently dangling from heavy iron chains. Ravis doesn't flinch. The proof was written in their blood. It was clear for anyone with eyes. Don't act innocent, Dad. You knew exactly what kind of snakes they were. Ravis is shouting now. The only reason they survived this long is because those old geezers in the council protected them. They blocked every punishment despite the evidence. How much filth were you gonna let slide? Mysterious hooded figures watch silently from the sidelines as the king shuts him down cold. We have laws, boy. Protocols. You don't get to play judge, jury, and executioner on a whim. Ravis spits on the floor. Protocols. In this corrupt hellhole, give me a break. The law of this world is simple. Survival of the fittest. That's it. Darkness eats darkness, he growls, locking eyes with the great Demon King. If you can't stomach that, then you're too weak to handle the Hilt family's corruption. How can you call yourself king when the nobles are the ones actually pulling the strings? Gamadir shakes his head, looking at his son with pure pity. You're so naive. You see the sword, but you miss the hand holding it. You truly are a fool. Ravis doubles down, fighting against his restraints. Our family stays on top only if the Hilts are gone. They were committing every sin in the book to steal your throne. Isn't that the real reason you sent me there? To do the dirty work. Stop hiding behind the cowards. The hall goes silent. The king lets out a heavy, defeated sigh. There's no getting through to him. The king realizes his son is too stubborn to see the big picture. Gamadir steps forward, his face stone cold. The decision has been made. The 12 black seats have spoken. Ravis blinks, blindsided by the sudden formality. The king drops the hammer. Ravus Bendica, you are hereby exiled to the human world for violating our laws and slaughtering a noble house. Ravus's jaw hits the floor. The human world. You're joking, right? You can't be serious. The king isn't laughing. Go. Live as a mortal. Your powers will be sealed until you learn what dignity actually means. Ravus starts to panic, realizing this is real. Dad, wait, listen to me. I killed their bodies, yeah, but I spared their souls. That has to count for something, right? Gamadir turns his back. Do it. He signals the hooded sorcerers to start the ritual immediately. A blinding magic circle ignites on the floor. Ravis thrashes against the chains, wild-eyed. I refuse. This is insane. I didn't do anything wrong. But it's over. The light swallows him whole, tearing a scream of agony from his throat. Just as he fades, one sorcerer leans in with a twisted grin. Have a nice trip, Prince Disgrace. Don't worry. I'll take good care of your spot while you're gone. That last taunt sends Ravis into a blind rage as he vanishes. Haters scream insults at him, their voices fading as the final moments tick down. The spell goes critical. A violet supernova swallows Ravis whole, erasing him from the demon court instantly. The terms of exile burn into existence, sealing Ravis Vindica's fate with zero room for negotiation. He is banished to the mortal realm. The rules, brutal. Rule 1, play the role of his human host flawlessly. Rule 2, self-deletion is strictly forbidden. Rule 3, 0 human casualties allowed. Break any of these, and it's game over. His soul gets permanently obliterated in the human world. A boy gasps, bolting upright in bed like he just drowned, sweat soaking through his shirt. He sits there totally dazed, staring at his soft, fleshy palms, and the strange bedroom trying to process the glitch in his reality. He grips his head, rage boiling over as the truth hits. He actually fell. He is trapped in a weak, pathetic human meat suit. Resentment flares. Toward Bambi, that backstabbing traitor, Ravis swears on his bloodline the second he gets back home. He is ripping Bambi's horns straight off his skull. Suddenly, a jagged spike of pain shreds through his nerves. He groans, annoyed. Why is this vessel so fragile? He glares at his reflection, disgusted that a supreme demon is now a prisoner in this breakable skin. He scoffs, thinking the Hilt clan was useless trash until the bitter end. Then, his lungs burn. The air here is too clean. He'd kill for a whiff of sulfur right now. His internal monologue snaps shut. As the door creaks open, a girl stands there, calling him Appa. He stares at her blank and confused. She launches herself at him, squeezing the life out of him, sobbing about how relieved she is. She whispers that she thought he was gone forever. Ravis freezes, analyzing the situation. Who is this kid? Must be kin to the body's original owner. Suddenly, another woman appears in the doorway, crying out Minho, dropping the name of his host. She buries her face in her hands, weeping with relief, apologizing over and over for the suffering he must have endured. Ravis is completely lost. No clue how to act. He recalls the old legends about the human realm being one of the three great hells. Looking at this mess, he starts to worry if he can actually survive here. Heavy footsteps echo, and a man walks in. The father. The wife rushes to tell him Minho is finally awake. The man doesn't even blink. Cold eyes, stone face. He orders his son to get up. School is tomorrow. He's been out for a week and has work to catch up on. The mother tries to protest. He is barely conscious, but the husband shuts her down instantly. To him, waking up means he is fit for duty. No excuses. The sister asks if he is okay, voice shaking, but Ravis watches the parents exit, sensing a dark, suffocating aura trailing them. It leaves him shook. For some twisted reason, Ravis is actually impressed. That man's cruelty, it rivals the demons back home. He marvels that even here, humans can have such a savage nature. The sister catches his weird expression and calls out hesitant. Ravis checks himself. He can't be caught fanboying over human cruelty. He locks in serious again. He needs to play it safe until Minho's original memories download into his brain, so he can navigate this reality. Cut to the next day, he stands before a massive concrete block, under a sickeningly clear sky. The woman says, "We're here." Ravis eyes the building. So this is school. She tells him to call if he feels faint. He nods, playing the part. She watches him walk away, her gaze heavy and silent before driving off. Walking to the gate, he realizes the last time he attended school was 600 years ago, in the demon world. The humiliation burns. A supreme being in high school. This really is hell. He confirms his theory. Mortals are just fireflies flickering out after 100 years max. He slides into his desk. The plan is simple: lay low, follow the rules, keep his soul intact. But don't get it twisted, he hasn't forgotten the mission. He believes wiping out the Hilt family bought him time. Now he just needs a way back to claim his father's throne. He has to secure the Vindica legacy before his enemies strike again. Ravis is just settling into his seat, trying to vibe with this new reality when two students roll up on him. One starts chirping with a mocking attitude, making a snide crack about his long disappearance. Ravis gives them serious side-eye, having zero clue who these clowns actually are. Suddenly, the blonde kid aggressively grips Ravis's shoulder, demanding to know if he brought the cash for those overdue membership fees. That's when Minho's body betrays him, flinching in pure instinctive terror. It catches Ravis completely off guard. He realizes this vessel moved on autopilot. A montage of jagged memories floods his brain, showing the original owner, Minho, getting absolutely trashed and humiliated by these exact same losers. And then it clicks. That agonizing soreness he woke up with, it wasn't random. It was the aftermath of a brutal beatdown from these scumbags. The bully keeps yapping, sneering about why Minho is shaking like a leaf when he's just hanging with friends. He calls him out, saying he's even more pathetic than usual. Then he slaps a hand onto Ravis's head, total disrespect, and tells him they should be celebrating this reunion right. Then the tone drops. He demands that cash right now. You know, as a friendship tax. Inside, Ravis is boiling. He can't fathom that a lowly human would dare lay a finger on him. Him, the prince of demons, treated like this. His mind drifts back to an old lecture in the demon realm. His instructor was breaking down the nature of humans, calling them grotesque, vulgar things that look hideous without horns. The class agreed they smelled like trash too. The teacher wrapped up by confirming that humans are infinitely disgusting. Creatures desperate enough to do anything just to mask how weak they really are. She called them a moronic species that worships demons and angels simultaneously, a contradiction that just proves their stupidity. In that memory, young Ravis spoke up, declaring these idiots should just be incinerated. His teacher backed him up 100%, ending the class with a strict decree. If they ever cross paths with humans, they must crush that vulgarity without a shred of mercy. Snap back to reality. The bully's hand is still resting on his head. Ravis is practically vibrating with rage. How dare this filth touch him? Moving like a blur, Ravis snatches the guy's arm and slams his face violently onto the desk. A sickening crunch and a scream echo out. Humans really are idiots, Ravis thinks. The class freezes in shock, but the second bully charges in, looking furious. He screams in Ravis's face, asking if he's lost his damn mind. Suddenly, a strange sensation hits Ravis, and his eye flares crimson. He's shocked. His magic, the power that was supposed to be sealed tight, just reacted. The bully keeps shouting, threatening to end him, mocking him, asking if he went psycho after coming back from the dead. talking about his week-long disappearance. The guy throws a punch, but in that split second, Ravis notices something incredible. The malice, the curses spewing from these humans, it's fueling his magic. He realizes the connection instantly. Ravis sidesteps the attack effortlessly and blasts a fist straight into the bully's face. The guy goes airborne before crashing hard. While the class stands there with their jaws on the floor, Ravis stares at his own hand, puzzled. How is his power working here? The seal should have stopped it. He figures that even trapped in this weak human vessel, his demonic energy still responds to the evil around him. The stunned students stare at Minho, wondering, is this really the weakling they knew? The other bully, seeing his buddy get dropped, loses it. He grabs a chair, ready to smash Ravis, screaming about revenge. Suddenly, a kid with glasses yells out, warning Minho about the blindside attack. Ravis pivots calmly, eyes burning red. Before the chair can even connect, he lands a lightning-fast strike on the attacker. The guy crumples instantly. He hits his knees, coughing violently, overwhelmed by the sheer agony. He can't process this insane power gap. Ravis towers over him, looking down with pure disgust. The guy sputters, calling him a weak bastard. Ravis just replies coolly, humans really do get nasty, just to hide how fragile they are. He mocks him, asking, you think running your mouth makes you strong? Then, without a signal, he launches a brutal kick straight into the kneeling bully's face. In that split second, an image of his mother flashes in his mind, a demoness of immense prestige and power. And suddenly the truth hits him hard. The source of these human curses fueling him, it's his mother herself. A heavy silence falls over the room. The class is paralyzed as the two bullies, Tae-woo and Sung-yoon, lie unconscious on the floor. The rest of the students start whispering frantically, minds blown. They can't believe Minho, the class punching bag, just flattened the school tyrants. Ravis speaks to his father internally. He recalls the orders. Live quietly, then leave. But a wicked demonic grin spreads across his face. Yeah, that rule isn't going to work for him. He spins around to face the class, watching them tremble in fear. With a voice dripping in menace, he asks, anyone else want to disrespect me and end up like them? He dares them to step up if they've got the guts, while a shadowy demonic silhouette erupts behind him, sealing the deal on his lethal threat. As he doubles down, asking who wants a death wish, the class just stares, completely shook by this sudden shift. They can't believe this is the same Minho, especially Four Eyes, whose brain is short-circuiting trying to figure out when Minho unlocked this kind of power. The silence is deafening until the glasses kid swallows his fear and cautiously steps toward Ravis. He stammers out a checkup, asking if Minho's alright. Ravos clocks him. It's the same kid who tried to give him a heads up about the bullies earlier. His gaze shifts. Ravos sizes him up, and a twisted, devilish scheme starts brewing in his mind. This kid, he's prime material, a perfect pawn for this realm. But Ravos plays his cards close to the chest, simply nodding that he's fine. Fast forward to the walk home, and Glasses is still buzzing from the showdown. He's practically fanboying, gushing over Minho's raw strength and how he soloed the entire bully squad. Then he drops a bombshell question that comes out of nowhere. Did you get reincarnated from another dimension or something? Ravos freezes. Panic spikes. Did this puny human just crack his code that fast? The kid keeps rambling with his wild theories. Maybe you're from the Muram world, or inside a video game. Ravos feels the sweat forming. This is getting too close for comfort. His mind races through the fallout. If this potential minion actually knows who or what he really is. Flashback to a grim warning from Bambi. Rule number 1, do not kill humans in their own realm. The penalty, total soul deletion. Ravos, of course, had clapped back at that logic. He threw teacher Cynthia's advice right back at him. Crush the insects if they get in your way. But Bambi shut that down, explaining that Cynthia was just talking trash. For demons, human death isn't something to toy with. He laid it out. Demons aren't just monsters. They're akin to reapers, the overseers of mortality. That comes with a heavy burden of responsibility. Past Ravos just scoffed, arguing that humans do a fine job of slaughtering each other without help. Bambi conceded the point, humans are definitely morons. But that stupidity is exactly why demons exist, to keep the chaos in check and maintain the cosmic order. The lesson ended with a strict reminder, do not forget the rules. Naturally, Ravos tuned him out, thinking I'm the future demon king. Why would I ever set foot in the human world? Big mistake. Back in the present, Ravos realizes he's in a serious jam. If he can't flatline humans, how is he supposed to silence witnesses when things get messy? The kid interrupts his spiral, laughing it off. He just wishes reincarnation was real so he could escape his own boring life. Ravos glances over, inhaling sharply. He catches the scent of pure, miserable despair radiating off the boy. The kid backpedals, admitting isekai theories are illogical, and cooks up his own reason for the classroom beatdown. He figures Minho just reached his breaking point after taking so much abuse. Ravos mentally exhales, cover story intact. The kid knows nothing. The boy goes right back to hyping him up, calling Minho a total legend back there. Ravos feels a wave of nausea. Being praised by a lowly mortal, absolutely revolt. Later that night, Ravos breaks down the data. His demonic energy definitely spiked earlier. It triggered right when the insults were flying, which makes no sense for a power sealed inside a human vessel. He analyzes the fight, and a cocky grin spreads across his face. He found a glitch in the seal. Ego fully activated, he decides that for Ravis Bendikov, nothing is impossible. Even in this garbage dimension, his power has no ceiling. But gravity hits back fast. A sharp, blinding agony lances through him, doubling him over with a guttural groan. He collapses onto the mattress. The reality sinking in this fragile human shell can't handle his true voltage. Fire races through his veins. He's drenched in cold sweat, reeling from the fact that one day of human life is this excruciating. Gritting his teeth, he thinks the pain will keep him up all night, but his battery is drained. He blacks out instantly, closing the book on day one of his earthly exile. Sunrise hits the school rooftop, signaling the start of another chaotic episode for the Demon Prince. Cut to the afternoon walk home, and Four Eyes is radiating pure joy. He marvels at how long it's been since they actually got through a school day without drama. Turning to Minho, he drops a sincere thank you, knowing exactly who made that piece possible. Nobody dared to mess with them, but Ravis just hits them with the cold shoulder, making it clear he couldn't care less about their drama. His mind is locked on one thing, only throwing hands. He is inwardly itching to test drive that dark, demonic energy pulsing through his veins. Out of nowhere, a voice cuts through the air, dropping his full government name, Young Minho. The squad freezes and spins around. An older guy is pulling up on them, flanked by the two losers Ravis absolutely dusted yesterday. The stranger presses him immediately, voice dripping with venom, asking if Ravis is the one who battered his little brother. The ringleader steps forward, radiating major final boss energy as he stares Ravis down. He starts gaslighting Ravis, claiming he offered protection for pennies, and asks how Ravis dares to repay that generosity with such disrespect. But Ravis isn't scared. His eyes light up. This isn't a threat, it's the perfect testing ground to flex his new powers. He cracks a grin and points at his own chest, owning it with zero hesitation while his friend beside him looks ready to pass out from fear. The bully barks at him to follow, and Ravis agrees with terrifying enthusiasm, practically skipping into the trap while his friend panics. His buddy watches him walk straight into the fire with a smile. Cut to a flashback, the bully leader tearing into his brother, Tae-woo. He's roasting Tae-woo, reminding him he explicitly warned against getting stomped out like a rookie. The disrespect is real. He can't believe Tae-woo lost to a weakling. Tae-woo just hangs his head, apologizing like a total servant. Back in the present, Big Brother gets in Ravis's face, playing the victim and asking how he should handle this mess. He claims if he lets Ravis slide his street cred as a protective older brother, is ruined forever. Then comes the ultimate disrespect. He pokes Ravis in the forehead, sneering as he asks the trigger question. Is this how your mommy taught you to act? Beating up innocent friends? Ravis hits him with a chilling, arrogant smirk. Actually, yeah, she did. The bully snaps, seeing nothing but a rude punk. The guy laughs it off, stunned by the audacity, but freezes when he notices Ravis's smile turn into something darker. Ravis's eye flares crimson. He realizes that insults about his mother aren't insults, they're fuel. Those toxic memories are a power source. In a blur of motion, the vibe shifts instantly. Ravis snatches the bully's swinging fist and snaps the wrist back, eliciting a blood-curdling scream of pure agony. As the guy writhes, Ravis has a mental chat with his mom, praising her twisted legacy. He thanks her for letting humans spew such poisonous curses, then smashes a heavy fist right into the bully's face. Ravis channels his mother's wisdom. Physical pain just binds the body, nothing more. But that corrupt voice, specifically the curses, is what devours the soul, and these pathetic humans are begging for it. He lands another devastating blow. Tae-woo watches completely paralyzed. The little brother and his crew watch in horror, their brains unable to process that their invincible leader is getting dismantled. While Ravis's friend is frozen in shock, the broken bully screams at his minions to wake up. Don't just stand there, end this bastard. Ravis scans the mob, preparing to jump him. And he's happy. He realizes a pack attack just makes the game more fun. Bigger evil means bigger power. As the mob rushes him, Ravis unleashes hell, dropping them all with effortless brutality. His friend shrieks, overwhelmed by the sheer violence unfolding before his eyes. When the dust settles, Ravis stands tall in a sea of groaning bodies. He takes a deep, calming breath. He stares down at the leader, coughing up blood, feeling absolutely recharged and satisfied. His mind drifts to his uncle, the demon who gifted humanity violence to match his mother's curses. It all clicks now. Violence is the ultimate solution. He sends a silent thank you to his demonic uncle. His friend calls out shaking, and Ravis turns back with a smile that is 100% monster. Nearby, a red-eyed rat watches from the shadows. But the rat isn't just an animal, it's a surveillance drone recording everything. The scene shifts to Ravis, mentally reporting to a higher power, confirming the mission is a total success. A shadowy figure on a throne watches the feed through the rat's eyes. The figure speaks, revealing himself as the very uncle Ravis was just praising. Deep in the demon realm, the imposing entity lounges on a stone throne, amused that his nephew, seems to be enjoying the little present. Ravis thought it was just a seal, but the uncle knows the truth. It was actually a bloody mana stone planted in his eye. The uncle grins, plotting his next move with a cunning look. How long can Ravis actually keep this up? His uncle cackles, practically wheezing as he notes that the reckless maniac Ravis has already annihilated the entire Hilt bloodline. Bambi chimes in, pointing out that Ravis has always been a stubborn force of nature, a guy who won't stop until he does exactly what he wants, consequences be damned. The uncle then shifts gears, musing on the ruthlessness of his own brother, King Gamadhir, who didn't even blink before banishing his own son to the mortal realm. Wondering who could possibly break Ravis's iron will, Bambi replies that King Gamadhir's philosophy has always been simple total domination, through brute force, is the only language these malicious punks understand. The uncle adds a dark twist. The human world is basically a prison colony for criminals, so heinous. Even hell couldn't handle them, and surviving that snake pit won't be a walk in the park for Ravis. A grin spreads across his face as he digs up an old memory of a pint-sized Ravis, stirring up chaos, and screaming for his uncle to bail him out, a little terror, who grew up way too fast and never stopped looking for trouble. Bambi then connects the dots, asking if that nostalgia is why the uncle slipped Ravis, the magical bloodstone, as a parting gift. Shifting focus, Bambi informs his master Barkan that the stage is set to expose the sinners lurking in the human world. Barkan flashes a sinister grin and gives the command, "Show me." Bambi explains that, now that Ravis is boots on the ground, a collision course with these nightmare fuel sinners is inevitable. It's time to unleash hell. Bambi channels his magic, ripping open a dark swirling portal, where malevolent spirits begin to materialize. Barkan watches with hungry anticipation, promising his nephew Ravis that he's about to taste true darkness right there on Earth. Meanwhile, Ravis is chilling at a diner with his buddy, who is absolutely losing his mind over the recent fight, obsessing over how Minho dropped Taewoo's brother like it was nothing, calling the whole scene a masterpiece of cinematic violence. Ravis, however, is fighting a different battle, trying to hide that the spicy food is kicking his butt, insisting the water in his eyes is just sweat after his friend catches him tearing up. The friend gently roasts him for ordering the nuclear spice level, but Ravis rationalizes internally that a demon who runs from a little hellfire isn't much of a demon. Suddenly, the vibe shifts instantly. His friend's phone buzzes, and the name Jin Jae-hee flashes on the screen. The friend freezes, his face drained of color, locked in pure terror. Stammering through his excuse, he tells Ravis it's an emergency he can't ignore, but definitely can't answer right there. He apologizes profusely, telling Ravis to finish the meal and bolts out the door, leaving Ravis alone to wonder why his friend just acted like he saw a ghost. Cut to a gritty, dimly lit room where a woman covered in ink is holding a sharp tool to a restrained man's throat, daring him to twitch. She's grilling him for missing a payment, complaining that he's increasing her workload while gesturing to a wall plastered with photos of other victims who met grim fates. She wraps up her art by carving a mark into the guy's face, sneering that, at least he has a nice canvas, because the ink settled perfectly. Just then, a hulking enforcer steps in and tells the woman, Jae-hee, that the delivery has arrived. Ravis's friend is shoved into the room, shaking like a leaf. Jae-hee glares at him, demanding to know why he's late before mockingly inviting him to admire her latest handiwork. She violently grabs the friend's jaw, forcing his head toward the tortured debtor, commanding him to peel his eyes open and take a good hard look. She asks the terrified boy if he grasps exactly what this gruesome scene implies for the bleeding man in front of him. Her voice drops to a cold whisper as she explains that this is the price for unpaid debts, just another petty thief getting what he deserves. Then, Jae-hee pivots her menace toward the boy Lim Seong, asking with a venomous sweetness about his progress on their little deal. Seong tries to stall, stuttering about unexpected roadblocks popping up. Jae-hee snaps. She explodes at the weak excuse, asking if he thinks this is a game, and shoves him hard onto the floor, screaming in his face for being so clueless about the stakes. She ramps up the terror, grabbing his wrist and bringing the buzzing tattoo needle inches from his skin, wondering aloud if she needs to carve her instructions into the back of his hand so he'll remember. The boy screams, begging for mercy until she tells him, in a voice that is terrifyingly calm, to listen closely. This is the last lifeline she's throwing him. She points to the broken man on the floor, warning Seong that he really doesn't want to end up in that chair. The final order is given: do exactly what she said and have the money ready yesterday, or else. Later that night, blue monitor light washes over Lim Seon's face as he stares at his screen, locked in a brutal internal war. But reality hits hard. Jin Jae-hee doesn't do mercy. One wrong move and Sion is finished. Terrified, he keeps grinding away in the dark, forced to execute this shady mission with a gun, metaphorically, to his head. Meanwhile, Ravis jolts awake in bed, his gut screaming in agony, wincing in pure annoyance. Is this what humans call stamina pathetic? He feels like he's made of glass, sensing his shoulder might pop out of its socket. And all that from a simple scrap. Furious at this fragile vessel, he drags himself up and starts repraying out calisthenics. He's fueled by pure ego, reminding himself that he is Ravis Pendika. He doesn't fold over something this trivial. He pushes the workout to the absolute breaking point, swearing to forge this garbage physique into a weapon whatever the cost. Pain is just weakness leaving the body he will never submit. Cut to the next day at school, Sion walks the hall, clutching a gadget like a grenade. He checks the app on the screen, sweat beading on his forehead. This isn't just risky, it's a one-way ticket to disaster. Jaehee's threats loop in his mind, get it done or else. Sion stands there, frozen, spiraling into despair. He's totally lost in the sauce until bam. Ravis clamps a heavy hand onto his shoulder. Sion practically jumps out of his skin, letting out a pathetic squeak. Ravis stares blankly, asking why he's acting so sus. Sion almost spills the tea to Minho, but bites his tongue. No, even if Minho has hands. Getting mixed up with Jin Jae-hee is a death sentence. He can't drag his bro into this mess. Defeated, he slumps against Ravis instead. He's got to carry this burden alone. But right at that moment, Ravis's nostrils flare. He picks up a scent, something strange yet hauntingly familiar. Before he can place it, an orange-haired girl stumbles past and faceplants hard. Thud. Sion's eyes go wide. Seong-yi. A crowd swarms phones out, panicking. Sion drops to his knees, checking on her. Are you sick? He asks. But it's not a flu. She starts hacking up a storm, vomiting violently and convulsing on the floor. It's straight-up horror movie vibes, terrifying the onlookers. Ravus narrows his gaze, his eye flickering crimson as he clocks it. That's demonic energy. But how does a human high schooler have that kind of aura? A guy bursts through the crowd, rushing to Song-yi's side, screaming for answers she can't give. He scoops her up, piggyback style, desperate to get her to the nurse before she blacks out completely. As they rush past, Ravus spots it ink on the girl's wrist. It grabs his attention like a neon sign. His eyes widen in genuine shock. No way. That tattoo is the crest of the Hilt family, the bloodline he personally wiped out. Why is their sigil branded on a human? Eyes burning with cold rage. He decides he needs answers, and he's gonna get them personally. Later, Ravis goes stealth mode, hoodie up, stalking toward the infirmary. But a nurse blocks the door. Family only, she barks. She needs rest. Beat it, kid. Ravis doesn't have time for bureaucracy. His eye glows hell red as he mutters an ancient curse, forcing her mind into the void. The nurse stiffens eyes, rolling back to pure white as the spell hijacks her brain. She slumps onto the bench outside, zoned out like a zombie. Ravis breezes past her. Not bad for a weak body, though. The hypnosis won't last long. Inside, Song-yi wakes up groggy and startled to see a creeper in a hoodie standing over her. Who are you? She asks. Ravis hits her with a tone that could cut glass. Who the hell are you? She snaps back, yelling at him to get out of her room. Ravis snatches her wrist. Hard. She screams, cursing at him, but he thrusts the tattoo into the light. The Hilt family crest, he growls. Why is a weakling like you wearing the mark of my enemies? You're talking nonsense, she spits. Wrong answer. Ravis flares his aura, flooding the room with suffocating purple energy. Lie to me again, he hisses, and pain will be the least of your worries. He leans in close. His eyes burn like coals. Speak. Song-yi freezes, staring into the face of death. She realizes this isn't a human. Looming behind him is a shadow, a massive horned demon straight out of a nightmare. She screams, mind shattered. A demon here, the reality crashes down on her. Standing before a monster, she breaks. Trembling and sobbing, she finally cracks. I'll tell you everything. She's totally clueless, but she drops a massive name, Jin Jae-hee. She breaks it down, Jae-hee told her. That ink was her ticket into the crew, tossing in some weight loss pills as a twisted bonus. As Ravi grips her arm, he catches a whiff of something faint coming off her skin. He instantly clocks it. That's a scent he knows from the demon world. Flashback time, we're pulled into his memories, seeing him as a pint-sized kid, wandering a demon world castle, making a beeline for a deep well until a familiar voice checks him. He spins around to see Bambi, who's stressing that this is a forbidden zone. Little Ravi shoots him a savage smirk, basically calling Bambi a chicken to get under his skin. Bambi claps back that he isn't scared. He just doesn't want to get grounded. Ravi hits him with a cold get lost and keeps marching toward the danger zone. Zero cares given. Bambi refuses to tag along at first, but then scrambles to catch up, telling himself he has to babysit the young prince so he doesn't cause a catastrophe. Stalking him through the pitch-black corridors, Bambi is sweating bullets, wondering how deep into the forbidden area Ravi plans to go. They trek deeper into the castle's belly, and Bambi tries to flag Ravi down. Ravi snaps back with that signature icy, sarcastic drip telling him to quit guessing his mind games since he hasn't spilled the plan yet. Bambi awkwardly clears his throat. Being in this creepy void triggers a memory of an old legend, about beings with special eyes that see way past normal limits. He breaks it down. There are two ways those eyes go dark. Either they get fried by staring at something blindingly bright, or they waste away from staring into the abyss of places like this. Then, dead silence. Ravi puts a finger to his lips. Something's close. They duck behind a wall, peeking out, to spot a pale hand resting on the floor, an eerie, glowing orange flower sprouting from it. Bambi's voice is trembling, asking what on earth that thing is. Ravi decides to investigate, totally tuning out a terrified Bambi, who is screaming that it's a death trap. Walking up, they realize the whole room is infested with these bizarre blooms. And Bambi freezes. He recognizes the body on the floor. It's Jeremy Hilt. They stare at the corpse being consumed by the petals, and Ravi confirms that Jeremy is gone. Curiosity taking the wheel, Ravi reaches out to graze one of the flowers, ignoring Bambi's frantic pleas to stop. The second he makes contact, thorny, blood-soaked roots burst from underneath. He yanks the flower up and takes a whiff, instantly gagging at the pungent stench. Bambi stares at him, eyes wide with pure horror. Realizing exactly what they're dealing with, he shrieks in panic that is the devouring flower. Snap back to the present. Ravi realizes the girl in the hospital reeks of that exact same devouring flower from his childhood trauma. She's sobbing, begging for mercy, and he just stands there, stone cold for a beat, before backing off and staring out the window at the city lights. Watching from the shadows, a bat-like demon spies on him, narrating that Ravi has finally crossed paths with it, and that he's dying to see the chaos unfold. Ravi wanders the dark streets alone under the stars. He finally hits his target, standing in front of a locked metal door, Jin Jae-hee's tattoo shop, standing in the grim alleyway. He tries to connect the dots between the Hilt family crest and that killer flower, wondering if their combo is just a random fluke. Meanwhile, in a cramped hallway, a gang member is questioning why their boss, Young Mo, is so obsessed with this kid, Lim Si-yoon. His buddy corrects him. The boss doesn't give a damn about the boy. It's the app he built that matters. Another guy with blonde hair laughs, pulling out a small object, bragging that their crew is finally leveling up their tech game. But what he's holding is a new breed of drug candy wrapped in a blue ribbon, cooked up by Young Mo himself. His friend warns him to back off, bringing up Jo Seong-hee's bad trip yesterday, insisting the side effects are gnarly because the product is still in beta. The blonde guy brushes it off, saying he doesn't care as long as the high hits right. His friend just shakes his head, calling him a lunatic. Ravi, watching from the shadows, locks eyes on a tattoo on the blonde guy's neck. It's the Hilt family crest. Matching that with the familiar stench drifting off him, Ravi steps out of the gloom, asking point blank if Jin Jae-hee inked them. The gang members jolt, spinning around to face him, confused about who this random crasher is. The blonde guy. He rolls up on Ravis with zero chill, getting right in his personal space to mockingly ask if he's one of Jae-hee's little minions. This guy just won't quit. He leans in closer, literally tapping Ravis's cheek in a total disrespect move. He starts lecturing Ravis about respecting his elders, but suddenly Ravis's eye flashes a menacing crimson red. In a blur of motion too fast to track, Ravis connects a devastating right hook, planting the blonde guy face first into the concrete. The rest of the squad is left freezing in pure shock. While their leader groans in agony, his sidekick steps up, screaming right in Ravis's face, calling him a little punk and demanding to know which crew sent him. Ravis doesn't even blink. He launches that guy into the stratosphere. One of the goons lets out a high-pitched scream, genuinely wondering if this newcomer has a death wish. Ravis doesn't give them a second to breathe, lunging straight at the mob rushing him, ignoring their trash talk and death threats. He meets their chaotic energy with elite military-grade combat precision, dropping bodies left and right while they scream in terror. Desperate, one thug pulls a knife thinking he's got the upper hand, and swings wildly while yelling. Ravis stays icy calm, reading the trajectory and countering faster than a lightning strike. He lands a critical hit, and the attacker crumples, coughing violently as the pain completely shuts down his system, brain unable to process the beatdown he just took. With the squad wiped out, Ravis looms over the last survivor, eyes glowing with that demonic energy, and demands Jae-hee's location. The blonde guy staggers up, muttering gibberish, screaming for his crew to finish the job, but suddenly his face starts glitching out, contorting into something inhuman. The transformation hits 100%, and he glares at Ravis with feral eyes, letting out a blood-curdling shriek, swearing he's gonna end him. Ravis senses a massive spike in demonic aura, and instantly the creature lunges, roaring like a wild beast. Ravis clocks the speed upgrade immediately, wondering if that strange drug is what just buffed his stats like that. Ravis backpedals to make space but trips over one of the unconscious goons, hitting the deck hard. The monster leaps into the air, aiming to deliver a game-over stomp to Ravis while he's down. Ravis glares up from the pavement, pure rage building inside him, as the crimson glow in his eyes intensifies to maximum power. Meanwhile, back at the gang's HQ, Jae-hee is sweating bullets, apologizing that the job isn't done. A voice from the shadows notes coldly that this excuse is getting old, while Young Mo cuts in, reminding her his instructions were crystal clear. Young Mo shifts gears, telling Jae-hee they actually caught the rat who swiped the blue ribbon. A bound captive is dragged in, screaming his lungs out, admitting he messed up and begging for mercy. He keeps pleading, swearing on his life he won't slip up again, desperate for one more shot. Young Mo acts like the guy doesn't even exist, casually plucking a blue flower from a vase. The traitor's begging turns into gut-wrenching screams of terror. Young Mo steps up and strikes him with the flower, the stem piercing skin like a steel needle. The man starts gasping, suffocating as agony rips through him. The moment the toxin hits his system, he begs for an antidote. In his final seconds, he lets out a horrific, blood-curdling screech, writhing from the flower's impact before violently breathing his last breath. As Young Mo and his crew stand over the corpse, he announces with zero emotion that second chances aren't a thing here, scanning the room to make sure everyone feels the fear. The room is dead silent, everyone terrified, including Jae-hee, who looks ready to snap. Young Mo turns his laser focus on her, asking if she's on the same page. He orders her with a tone that screams, "Don't test me," telling her to quit stalling and deliver the goods right now. Jae-hee realizes she has zero options left but to obey. As night swallows the city, the scene shifts to her, walking through a sketchy, dark alleyway. Despair crushing her as she realizes she is completely cooked if she fails this mission. Frustrated, she rage dials Lim Sion. In his room, Sion nearly jumps out of his skin when his phone starts buzzing, and he answers, voice shaking. But it's not Jae-hee on the line, it's Ravis, calling from that same alley, surrounded by the aftermath of his brawl. He tells Sion coldly that he decided to handle the investigation himself, but the local boys weren't exactly helpful, referencing the unconscious bodies piled up around him. He asks point blank if Sion knows Jin Jae-hee, throwing Sion into total confusion. Sion is stunned, so Ravis explains he saw her name pop up on the screen when she tried to call earlier. Standing in the middle of the wreckage, Ravis asks his buddy if he knows where any of these thugs live. Sion's panic levels spike, and he frantically asks how Ravis knows Jae-hee and if he's mixed up with her. Ravis shuts that down immediately. He's on the hunt. Ravis explains he tracked her down to verify some intel standing right outside her tattoo parlor this very second, but the place is a ghost town. Mid-sentence, Ravis spots movement, a weird, stark white cat creeping down the stairs. On the line, Sion is losing it. He begs Ravis to steer clear of Jae-hee, screaming that he's rushing over immediately. Ravis kills the call. He doesn't care. His entire attention locks onto the furball, playing innocently in front of him. He barks a command, and the cat freezes like a statue. Pure shock. Before it can twitch, he snatches it up by the scruff, demanding to know if it understands English. The cat plays dumb with a shaky meow. Ravus isn't buying it. His eye flares a menacing crimson, and he forces his will upon it. Make me understand. The pressure is crushing. The creature lets out a blood-curdling screech. It's a yes. It clicks. The rat the bat. He's seen this exact energy signature before. Same entity, different skins. A shapeshifter. He demands the truth. The gig is up. The cat confesses it's an observer from the demon world, tasked with keeping tabs on exiled prisoners, including him. It even drops the formal title Lord Ravis. Ravo scoffs at its pathetic energy level. When the thing asks how it got busted, he gives a cold reality check. You're too obvious. And right now you're standing on your hind legs like a human. The creature freezes, realizing it made a rookie mistake. Ravis sighs. Interrogating a grunt is a waste of time. He needs the big boss. He flares his aura, eye glowing like a supernova. He hijacks the cat's mind, channeling a direct line to its master. Show yourself. The cat's eye mirrors his red glow. Connection established. Meanwhile, deep in the demon realm, Bambi lounges in a high-end office grinning. He got caught way faster than predicted. A familiar voice oozes out of the cat, teasing Ravis about his speed. Ravis snaps back. This has your fingerprints all over it, Bambi. Bambi smirks, firing back. Is that how you talk to your bestie? How rude. Ravis ignores the sass. He glares through the connection, cutting to the chase. What are you plotting this time? Bambi plays the innocent victim card. Ravis isn't having it, and switches tactics to get real answers, firing a specific question at the cat vessel itself, skipping the arguments. Can exiled prisoners use magic in the human world? He knows the rules that shouldn't be possible. The cat channeled by Bambi gives a slippery answer. Every rule has an exception, my friend. The voice adds, you'll figure it out. Then any other questions, Ravis brings up the devouring flower, pointing out that its sickly sweet scent is suffocating this entire city. He accuses Bambi of knowing it. That flower is banned even in hell, yet Ravis senses it crawling all over the human world. Bambi comes clean. The demon administration knows the Hilt family's monsters have breached the human border, but wiping them out, nearly impossible. They stick together like glue and fight hard. Ravis is seething, so the Hilt family remnants are still out here, alive. Bambi chuckles softly. The human world isn't the playground it used to be, Ravis. It's a nest of vipers now. Then he drops the hammer. Since Ravis is already there, kill them all. That's your job now. The order hits Ravis through the cat, leaving him stunned. Click. The connection severs instantly, leaving the poor cat dazed and confused. Ravis curses. He just got played. Meanwhile, Jae-hee appears, frantically trying to reach Lim Sion. No answer. She knows every wasted second pushes her closer to the edge. Panic turns to rage. Is he ghosting her? Has he lost his mind? At the esports HQ, Lim Sion's phone buzzes. A desperate text from Jae-hee lights up the screen. Someone else summons him to the office. But then Jae-hee makes a move. She issues a kill order to capture Sion. Back in the alley, Ravis corners the cat again. You're an observer. How much do you know about this world? The cat nods. It gets cloud updates and sees everything. Ravis isn't satisfied. Drop the disguise. Now. It hesitates. Ravis's voice drops to sub-zero. Shift or I'll rip you out of that skin myself. The cat screams, terrified. A blinding flash of light erupts. The cat vanishes, replaced by a small demon girl with electric blue hair. Ravis eyes her up and down. She looks pathetic, but his Uncle Bambi wouldn't send trash without a reason. What's your name, he demands. She stammers that she doesn't have one. Ravis shrugs. I found you on the street, so that's your name. Street. He plucked her right off the pavement and dropped a cold truth, never forget her roots. From this second on, the demon girl owns her gritty new handle, Street. She is caught in a whirlwind of confusion and pure vibes pouring out gratitude to Ravus. For the first time ever, she actually has an identity to call her own. No time for sentiment, though. Ravus immediately demands the intel. He wants a full download on everything she knows about the human world. She nods enthusiastically, all in, while the night swallows the city whole. Meanwhile, the camera cuts to a different kind of darkness. Lim Sion is tearing through the city streets, lungs burning with panic. It hits him hard. His homie Minho is walking straight into a trap. Guilt is eating him alive. He should have shut this drama down from day one. Suddenly, his mind snaps back to how this nightmare started. He remembers sprinting in pure joy, head in the clouds, unable to believe he actually crushed that app development competition. But the memory takes a dark turn to that night when a black sedan cut him off. Sketchy guys stepped out to confirm he was the winner, Lim Sion. Jae-hee scoffed at his chump change prize money, while Sion stood there, muscles locked in tension. Then, flashing a wicked grin, she called him a precious asset and signaled her goons to bag him. Sion got shoved inside, screaming his lungs out, while the celebratory bouquet he was holding slipped from his fingers and smashed onto the asphalt. Inside the ride, young Mo stared him down with dead eyes. Why the shakes, he asked coldly. This is just a business deal. He nodded toward the seat next to him. Sion looked down and saw a duffel bag stuffed with cash. Young Mo dropped the number 50 million won, the price for his app. Sion tried to push back, explaining that his code was not for sale, but young Mo shut him down instantly. That is just your opinion, he spat, rejecting the logic. Back in the moment, Sion's jaw tightens. He is done being a victim, fueled by the need to protect his friend. He decides he has to hustle to stop Minho from ever meeting Jae-hee. He is sprinting blind and then, slam, he crashes right into a pedestrian. He starts babbling apologies only to freeze in absolute horror. He ran straight into the very wolves he was dodging. They laugh, mocking him for saving them the trouble of a manhunt. He is boxed in, totally surrounded. Jae-hee steps up with a glare that could kill, signaling that he is done for. Sion freezes, paralyzed by terror. Smash cut to a dark monitoring room. Sion is slumped on the floor, defeated. Jae-hee lays it out. His new mission is managing the app from this cell. She threatens him, screw this up, and he will rot in this prison forever. When he tries to protest, she cuts him off. We are watching everything, she warns, telling him not to even think about pulling a fast one. Sion slumps in despair, realizing his life as a free man is officially over. Outside, the gang is skeptical. They call him a clumsy nerd, doubting he has got what it takes, but they admit they need his tech to push their new product, the Blue Ribbon drug. They reveal the app's name is I'm Here. Back inside, Sion is glued to the screen, forced to code while a guard roasts him, questioning how this ridiculous app is supposed to be a distribution channel and laughing at the name. The I'm Here logo glows on the monitor. Young Mo strides in, asking if the stage is set. He tells the crew to focus. Lim Sion's creation is the heartbeat of the entire Blue Ribbon operation. He adds that once they harvest buyer data through the app, they will own the market, playing it like a fiddle. He asserts that the location sharing feature in I'm Here is their primary weapon for expanding their empire. The explanation lights a fire under one of the henchmen, so he asks the boss if it is finally go time for sales. Young Mo gives a serious nod, holding up a piece of Blue Ribbon candy. It radiates a sinister purple aura. With a confident smirk, he declares it is time to unleash this on the world. The scene shifts to a sunny school courtyard in broad daylight, where a student is nagging her friend to join an app and add her immediately. The friend wonders what the deal is, so the I'm Here logo pops up. The friend explains the hook. Add, buddies get 30,001 cashback per person. News travels fast. The classroom erupts as kids realize they can make easy money scrambling to invite everyone they know. One of the students practically forces her hesitant classmate to sign up right now. Then they spot a special event for new subscribers, where they score a weight loss product called Blue Ribbon, marketed as certified health food. They love the catchy name. Meanwhile, back at gang headquarters, a member is shocked by the massive spike in users in just one day, while Jae-hee just scrolls through her phone unbothered. Total game changer, her partner gasps, eyes wide with hype. Young Mo is an actual genius for pulling this off. Cut to the wreckage. Jae-hee stands amidst the debris of her shattered shop, voice shaking. Did we bag the trash? Who did this? One henchman swallows, hard-looking, nervous. I pulled the security tapes, boss, but it's weird. All I saw was a bat, he admits. Jae-hee blinks, her face twisting from rage to pure confusion. A what? They rush to the control room. On screen, the footage freezes. Zoom in. A grotesque mutated bat stares dead into the lens like it knows they're watching. Check the other angles, she barks. Click. A massive grime-covered rat grins back from the monitor with a human-like smile. What kind of joke is this? Jae-hee screams, kicking a chair. It makes zero sense. Suddenly, a grunt rushes in, breathless. The blue ribbon drop is here, ma'am. She snaps into focus, eyes cold. We move at sundown. Dark alleyway. Ravis, looking sharp in his school uniform, calls out. Street. He finds her not as a cat but in full demon mode doing burpees. Just burning some calories, she pants, looking guilty and trying to play it cool. Cut the act. Ravis's eyes, narrow voice cutting through the air. Did you finish the job I gave you yesterday? Her face lights up instantly. You bet. It was a total grind, but I finally cracked the code. Flashback effect. The aftermath of the last brawl. Ravis spots shattered blue candy lying next to a KO'd thug. He lifts a piece, sniffing it. Instantly, he knows. The distinct, sickly sweet scent of the demonic devouring flower. That's the secret. He realizes that popping this candy gave those weaklings sudden god-tier strength. His mind races. That flower is supposed to be extinct, legendary loot even back in the demon realm. And you can't just grow it in a pot. It needs a living host. Snap back to the present. Street speaks up. They call it blue ribbon, she explains fast. Humans are popping them like diet pills and vitamins. It's trending. What's in it, he demands. She hesitates, looking away. Production is top secret. Tracing the source is a nightmare. Ravis glares disappointment, radiating off him like heat. So, you found nothing. Street waves her hands frantically. No, wait. It's everywhere now. That much concentrated demonic energy leaves a trail. We can follow the vibe straight to the HQ. Then why are you still here? He scoffs, arms crossed. Why aren't you tracking it? She shrinks back, trembling visibly. Bambi, he said. I had to wait. He ordered me to go with you. Ravis goes cold. His eyes flash dangerously. Bambi, huh? Are you snitching on me to him? Tears stream down her face. I'm just a low-level grunt. I have to listen to both of you. I don't have a choice. Enough. Ravis looms over her. Pick a master. Right now. Him or me. She freezes, paralyzed by the ultimatum. He leans in, voice, smooth as silk, but heavy with power. Stick with me, and I'll make sure you're never just a grunt again. A dark, terrifying aura flares up behind him like wings, but instead of fear, Street's eyes sparkle with pure fangirl joy. She drops to the pavement, bowing low. I'm yours. My blood, my body, take it all. I'm all in. Ravis smirks. He's got her. He extends a hand, accepting her total submission. I, Ravis Bendika, claim you. The pact snaps into place. She is officially his personal subordinate now. Pop, a tiny ghostly blob floats out of her skull. Her supernatural link to her old boss is severed. Ravis stares at the spirit, grinning triumphantly. Tell Bambi his subscription has expired. Now he commands, turning away. Take me to the stash. We're crashing their party. Yes, master. Cut to the shipping yards. Dead of night. Pitch black, silent, and creepy. This is it, Street whispers, pointing. The demonic energy is off the charts right here. Ravis steps up to a container. It's locked down tight, heavy-duty chains barring the way. Annoying. Back up. With a casual swing powered by demon muscle CLA Aang, the steel shatters like glass. Street's jaw drops at the display of raw power. The heavy metal doors creak open slowly. They step into the gloom, muscles tense, ready for whatever monster is guarding the loot. Wham! A stench so vile hits them they physically recoil, gagging and covering their noses. It's not drugs. The container is packed with the devouring flower, pulsing with a sick purple glow. Ravis freezes. He goes pale. This is the true source of the blue ribbon. Suddenly, a memory slams into his brain. Years ago, brutal training. His uncle sneers at him, calling him weak. Young Ravis spits back, "You gross old man." Sparks fly. The spar turns ugly. His uncle roars, eyes blazing. If you don't learn some respect, deciding a quick death is the greatest mercy. He overpowers Ravis and hurls him off the jagged cliffside. Ravis plummets, screaming curses into the void while his uncle looms on the edge, cackling like a maniac and wondering if the kid will break that easily. He dives after him. Ravis slams into the earth with a bone-shaking thud, only for his uncle to instantly materialize right next to his broken form. Dead yet, kid, he taunts. Ravis gasps, eyes wide with shock, as he scrambles to take in his surroundings. He realizes he's landed in a massive cavern. But it's not empty. It's a garden of nightmares filled with devouring flowers, blooming on piles of rotting corpses. It hits him instantly. This is the nest, the hideout. Terror floods his gaze as the truth sinks in. Staring at the carnage triggers a flashback, dragging his mind back to ancient lessons about where these monstrosities actually came from. When the cosmos split into light and dark, creating beings that could never mix, something else started to grow in the cracks. A parasitic flower bloomed in the battlegrounds, feasting on the leftover scraps of fallen angels and slaughtered demons. Its only purpose, to consume. A chilling realization surfaces in Ravas's memory. This plant isn't just hungry, it wants to devour the entire world. The vision shifts, showing a tiny younger Ravas standing alongside his uncle, facing a swirling vortex of purple demonic energy bracing for a dark destiny. Snap back to now. Spirit is totally confused. She argues that Ravas's father, the Demon King, supposedly scrubbed the demon world clean and wiped this species out for good. It should all be ash by now. Ravas scans the endless field of blooms, wondering how the hell this much of it survived. If the legends were true, this shouldn't exist. Then he hits Spirit with a curveball. This flower didn't start in the demon world. It originated right here in the human world. Spirit is floored as Ravas breaks it down further. The human realm is the chaotic middle ground, a messy mix of light and dark that doesn't pledge allegiance to either side. It is a gateway to both. Ravas digs deep into his knowledge, recalling that human history records also claim they eradicated this plague thousands of years ago. But the nightmare blooming in front of him proves the history books wrong. If it popped up in both dimensions and got nuked in both, there's only one logical explanation for this resurgence. Someone brought it back on purpose. Suddenly, a voice booms out and a spotlight cuts through the gloom, shattering his train of thought. While Spirit wraps her head around the conspiracy, a squad of thugs emerges from the shadows, led by a menacing figure. The leader barks out, demanding to know who these rats are and how they dared to crash their secret party. As they step into the light, one goon clocks Ravas instantly. He starts hollering for Jahi, screaming that this is the same punk who wrecked the tattoo parlor. Spirit leans in, whispering to Ravas, confirming the target that is Jin Jahi. Jahi stomps forward, absolutely livid, getting right in Ravas's grill. She screams at him, demanding to know who he is, why he trashed her business, and how he sniffed out their operation. Ravas completely ignores her tantrum, hitting her with a cold singular question. Is she the one running this flower farm? She sneers, mocking him and challenging. Yeah, what are you gonna do about it? Ravas stays icy calm, but his eyes start to glow with mana. Do you even know what raw materials go into making this trash? Jahi flashes a wicked grin, assuming he is just a rival trying to heist their trade secrets. Ravas lets out a heavy sigh, admitting that isn't the point at all. He says it's not really his drama, but let's be real, walking away now would leave a bitter taste in his mouth. Jahi spins around to her squad, pulling out packets of that blue ribbon drug. She's not playing around. Fail her again and there will be consequences. She reminds them exactly what Boss Young Mo does to screw-ups. Then she tosses them the stash, calling it a little treat on the house. The goons' eyes light up with pure greed. They look stunned, like they can't believe they're scoring this stuff for zero cost. Shut up and eat, Jahi barks. They don't hesitate, wolfing the drugs down like starving animals. Ravas senses the shift immediately. He snaps at Street to stay out of sight, making it clear. Right now, her magic is too weak. She'd be a liability, not an asset. Street nods and vanishes into the shadows without a word. The thugs start twitching their faces, warping into grotesque shapes. Jahi just watches satisfied. With a psycho grin, she points at Ravas. Crush him. The mutant mob charges, but Ravas stands his ground, icy calm. He sizes them up, arrogant fools, drowning in their own ego, totally clueless that the power they crave is actually poison. His eye flares with intense light. The air is thick with demonic energy now, and Ravas knows exactly how to exploit it. He taunts them, daring them to try him. The twisted monsters scream and dive in for the kill. But Ravas is too fast. He slips a punch and snaps back with a brutal counter that connects hard. The attacker howls in agony. The brawl turns chaotic, but Ravas flows through their attacks, dropping them one by one. Suddenly, a goon grabs him from behind. Ravas doesn't panic. He smashes a fist into another guy's face first. That opponent screams, face shattered. Ravas grits his teeth, getting annoyed now. He tries to shake the grappler off, but the guy slams him into the dirt. Immediately, a massive brute charges in to stomp him out. Street covers her mouth in her hiding spot, terrified for her master. Meanwhile, Jahi leans back, that smug smirk plastered on her face. Ravas is encircled. Everywhere he looks, it's just twisted demonic masks closing in for the kill. They rush him all at once. Ravas guards up, but he's barely holding back the tide of blows. They're hitting way harder than before. He realizes it must be that extra dose of the blue ribbon spiking their strength. Time for Plan B. He spots an open shipping container nearby, the one packed with those weird flowers. He grabs the crate and hurls the contents at them. Boom! A purple shockwave of pollen explodes outward. The aura washes over the gang. They instantly drop, clutching their throats near the container's entrance. They're choking on pure demonic energy. Their junked-up bodies just can't handle the real deal. Ravis wrinkles his nose. The scent is disgusting, vulgar, but he knows what comes next. As the evil spreads, his own core resonates with it. He feels a massive surge of power flooding his veins. Recharged and dangerous, Ravis dives back into the fray with renewed ferocity. He levels one guy with a bone-crushing strike, leaving him writhing on the concrete. Charging energy into his fist, he delivers a haymaker so devastating that blood sprays across the floor. One down for good. Another goon tries a desperation kick, but Ravis is already moving. He catches the leg, flips the guy mid-air, and stomps down hard on his limb. Snap. As the man screams, another wild-eyed maniac rushes in swearing he's going to end Ravis right there. Ravis sidesteps effortlessly. One solid hit, and it's lights out for the berserker. Silence falls as the last body drops. Jae-hee stands there frozen, stiff, completely shook. She can't process it. How did one guy just dismantle her entire elite squad solo? Ravis turns to face her, breathing heavy. His eye flashes a deep, ominous crimson. Pure terror hits her. Shadows erupt behind him, forming a massive, terrifying, demonic silhouette. Jae-hee stares into the abyss, wondering if she's looking at a ghost or a straight-up monster. Smash cut to a brightly lit stage. A ballet competition is underway, music swelling. A young girl pirouettes gracefully under the spotlight. Elsewhere, a woman named Kang Hyunju watches. That's her daughter Yuri. Hyunju is lounging in a VIP suite watching the performance on a massive screen. She's good enough for the pros, she muses, swelling with pride. But the moment gets cut short. Two men barge into the private room. She puts on a polite mask, assuming they're VIP clients. But the vibe shifts instantly. She drops the act and screams, "Who the hell told you to barge into my office?" Young Mo drops the polite act just long enough to apologize for the rough introduction, then slams a massive glass container onto the table, packed to the brim with glowing blue pills. He announces he wanted to personally hand-deliver such a VIP order of blue ribbons. The woman freezes, absolute terror washing over her like a bucket of ice water. Staring into the glass, her distorted, horrified reflection stares back. Young Mo leans in, smooth and eerie, telling her to chill out. He brags about their vertically integrated business model. From the lab to the street, they handle it all. Kang Hyunju is practically vibrating with anxiety. She stammers, asking if the product is actually safe. He scoffs, hitting her with a mocking smirk, asking why she's suddenly growing a conscience now. His eyes dart to the monitor, showing her daughter dancing, and he decides it's time to drop the bomb. The horrific truth: she already pumped her kid full of the stuff before shoving her into the spotlight. On screen, the chemical hits Yuri like a freight train. Her neck snaps to the side at a sickening angle, pure body horror. Then her ankle buckles, twisting way past the breaking point. The mom is glued to the screen, paralyzed, barely able to wheeze out her daughter's name. The girl's face contorts into a grotesque mask, twitching unnaturally, while Young Mo watches the carnage with zero emotion. He snickers, noting that the mom must have been in a rush to see results. Meanwhile, the girl on screen twists into a shape no human should ever be in. Caught in a painful frozen pose, the dancer suffers, while the dealer drops a heavy hint. Looks like someone ignored the dosage instructions. Panic explodes. The mother screams at the screen, begging for it to stop, just as Yuri's spine arches backward like a bow. It defies physics, snapping past every natural limit until she collapses on stage, letting out a gut-wrenching shriek. Total pandemonium erupts in the hall. The audience is freaking out, clueless, while security squads sprint toward the fallen girl. The mother crumbles, but despair instantly ignites into rage. She lunges at Young Mo, screaming right in his face. She calls them liars, screaming about their zero side effects guarantee. Young Mo shuts her down, cold as ice. He clarifies that the guarantee only applies to the recommended dose. Subtle way of saying, "You did this, not us." He gestures to the lifeless heap on the stage floor and delivers the verdict with a shrug. That girl is beyond saving now. Then comes the threat, sharp and lethal. If she wants her daughter to keep breathing, she's got to keep feeding that addiction. The mother wails, clutching the jar of poison like a lifeline. He drives the point home. She just became their MVP client because that kid won't survive 24 hours without a fix. The mother breaks down, but here's the kicker. She's not screaming about her child's pain. She's screaming about the fortune she just lost. Mask off. Young Mo smirks like he just won the lottery, while the woman slumps over the table, totally defeated. Suddenly, his phone buzzes. Jin Jae-hee flashes on the screen, wiping the smirk right off his face. Why is she calling he? Answers only to see Jae-hee crying and apologizing, clearly being held against her will. Then Rava steps into frame, cold and menacing, asking straight up if he's the guy cooking up the blue ribbons. Young Mo freezes, trying to figure out who crashed the party. Ravus's voice cuts through the speaker, deadly calm. He confirms he found the right guy and tells him to watch. Young Mo panics and kills the call instantly. He turns to his sobbing client icily, announcing an urgent situation at the container yard before bolting. Back at the scene, Ravis stands over a pile of unconscious thugs, asking Street why humans are so obsessed with getting high. Street snaps back that humans are just dumb and arrogant. Ravas picks up a pill, inspecting it closely. He muses that they always think they're special, convinced they can dabble without getting hooked. It's because they're hollow inside. Nothing to believe in, so they latch onto trash like this to feel something. Suddenly, Street signals a presence. Jae-hee screams, "Young Mo's name, the boss has arrived." Young Mo steps out from the tree line, cool as a cucumber, asking if Ravas is the one hunting him down over the tattoo shop mess. Ravas looks at him like he's something stuck to his shoe. He doesn't care about the beef. He wants answers. He demands to know where the raw material came from. That kind of power isn't something a mere human should have access to. That phrase, mere human, hits Young Mo like a slap in the face. Panic and confusion start to creep in. Who is this kid? The question triggers a dark memory. Young Mo, back in a rotted-out apartment from his past. The floor is littered with empty pill bottles. He finds his old man passed out cold. Young Mo remembers begging, screaming for more product, even kicking the unconscious man in a frantic attempt to wake him up. Then the cold reality sets in. His dad isn't sleeping. He's dead. But there's no sadness, just a bitter aftertaste. He realizes the old man lived like a junkie and died like one. The memory ends with Young Mo exploding in a scream of pure, unadulterated rage. He's not crying over his dead dad. He's losing his mind because his supply line just got cut, panicked about where his next fix is coming from. Young Mo's flashback plays out like a nightmare, replaying that moment he was screaming in absolute despair, freaking out about how to score without his father around. Suddenly, the corpse's eyes flare up with a demonic purple glow. Young Mo freezes, terrified and confused, watching his father's lifeless body slowly crank itself upright. He scrambles backward, voice shaking as he calls out, refusing to believe the old man isn't actually dead. A pitch-black aura erupts from the corpse, twisting into a shadow monster with glowing eyes and a voice from the abyss. It asks if this death actually makes him sad. Young Mo is paralyzed with shock, so the entity throws a deal on the table. If you're truly grieving, I'll bring him back. Hearing this, Young Mo just snaps, bursting into manic, hysterical laughter. He spits on the idea of mourning, mocking the situation, and announcing that the old man is finally gone for good. Why would he be sad? He screams right in the demon's face that he doesn't need a useless father anymore. All he ever needed was the product the guy provided. The demon nods chill with that answer and pivots to a new offer. It commands him to feed the body to the devouring flower, extending a glowing purple blossom rooted in darkness. The deal is simple: seal this blood pact, and Young Mo gets every twisted desire his heart craves. But there's a catch: anyone who betrays the loyalty or denies the flower, Young Mo has to take them out. This covenant is his shield now. Young Mo's eyes light up with that same purple evil, a psycho grin spreading as he snatches the flower. Zero hesitation, he accepts the dark bargain, raising the thorny roots high above his head. And bam, he slams it into his father's corpse, sealing the deal in blood. Snap back to the present timeline. Young Mo mocks Ravas's little speech, scoffing and asking if the guy is seriously just a human. Ravas smirks, noting the guy must worship something. Young Mo owns it, bragging that a higher power gifted him this second wind. Ravas clocks it instantly. This junkie definitely signed his soul away to a demon. Ravas lets out a savage laugh, wondering what kind of garbage deity his opponent is praying to, calling the whole thing pathetic for the demon and the human. Young Mo snaps furious at the shade thrown at his master. He barks at his goons to drag Ravas over. Suddenly, Jae-hee storms out of cover screaming and annoyed about having to run again. Ravas looks totally over it. He decides to wrap this little drama up fast and end the fight. Mean Street's nighttime. An ambulance tears through the city while a gang member chatters over the comms. He's hyping up the massive spike in orders since they dropped the I'm Here app. Inside the ride, Kang Hyunju sits next to her daughter Yuri, who is twisted into something monstrous. The goon thinks their product is killing it, confident that hooking the whole country is going to be a cakewalk. He jokes, wondering if their shady operation is about to go global at this rate. At HQ, the crew flexes about Young Mo, already opening supply lines in China and Japan. With him in charge, they feel like they're untouchable, like anything is possible. Meanwhile, in the tech room, Lim Xian stares at a screen, horrified by how fast the app is spreading. He's guilt-tripping hard, knowing his code is the reason this poison is flooding the streets. Panic mode engaged. He chews his nails silently, praying for a hero to shut this nightmare down. Back in the fight, Jae-hee yells, pointing at the bodies dropping and warning her boss. She screams that this intruder isn't human. Ravas just stands there in the chaos, cool as ice. He whispers, asking when the real challenger is going to show up. Young Mo flashes back to the demon's final command: kill anyone who rejects the devouring flower. Young Mo bows, mentally ready to execute. We finally see the puppet master, Lord Power Hilt. The blood oath echoes in Young Mo's skull. The demon demands absolute loyalty. Betrayers and deniers get the death penalty. Young Mo accepts without blinking. Consider it done. Back to the brawl. Jae-hee hits her knees, screaming at Young Mo that Ravas isn't just some random student. She thinks he's linked to the creators of the new drug. Ravas hears this and looks totally confused. He's wondering why they're dragging his name into their mess. But before he can process, young Mo blitzes behind him too fast. His eyes burn with doom, catching Ravis completely off guard. The clash kicks off instantly, and Ravis immediately clocks that his opponent's speed and raw power are miles above anything he has dealt with lately, putting this guy in a totally different league. Young Mo is visibly shook, wondering how Ravis managed to tank his hits, guessing that maybe this kid also secured a blessing from his master. Young Mo starts ranting like a total fanatic, claiming this entity is his one true god, a being exclusive only to him. That is when the puzzle pieces click for Ravis, that desperate look, and the rancid stench coming off the guy. Ravis drops a smug grin, revealing he knows exactly who this god is, dropping the name like a bomb, Power Hilt. Young Mo freezes, completely paralyzed by the shock of hearing a mere boy utter his master's secret name. Ravis wastes no time using that pause to roast him, calling his master a bottom-tier loser and telling young Mo he has absolute trash taste for worshipping him. Young Mo snaps, screaming right in Ravis's face, demanding he show respect to the only being who saved him from misery. Ravis keeps the mockery coming, laughing that his master must have been desperate, and that young Mo was such a charity case that the entity had to crawl out of hiding, just to scout him. Young Mo loses it, shrieking that trash like Ravis has no right to speak about his master. With a glare full of pure disgust, Ravis brings up the receipts on Power Hilt, reminding him that he has already ascended past that level. Flashbacks flood his mind, images of the bloody war against the Hilt family, and he vividly remembers Power Hilt running away like a coward to save his own skin. Ravis boils with rage, thinking about how that fugitive is now acting like royalty, wondering which hole he is hiding in these days. Ravis's insults fuel the fire in young Mo's soul, causing a massive dark demonic aura to explode outward. Ravis pinches his nose, repulsed by the gross smell, which basically confirms the guy's demonic origins. Young Mo goes full berserker mode, lunging at Ravis while screaming a vow to slaughter anyone who disrespects his master, with his own bare hands. He dives in with a brutal assault, slamming Ravis into the pavement. Ravis barely absorbs the impact. As young Mo towers over him, winding up for the next hit, he throws a violent strike, chanting his master's name like a mantra, convinced this is holy work. Young Mo continues the insane beatdown, screaming non-stop. Ravis grits his teeth under the heavy barrage, realizing this guy has completely lost his mind to the demonic energy and is legitimately trying to delete him. In a do-or-die moment, young Mo throws a knockout punch accompanied by a guttural war cry. In the background, Sayri screams in terror, begging Ravis to make it stop. Crushed under young Mo's fists, Ravis realizes his human vessel has hit its absolute limit. Sayri watches from her cover, trembling, wishing they were back in the demon world, where Ravis could unleash his full unnerved power. Meanwhile, in the demon world, Barkan and Bambi are live-streaming the fight via a magic mirror. Bambi notes the test subject, enhanced by the devouring flower, is fully synced up, admitting he assumed Ravis would stomp a mere test subject, especially with the demon bloodstone buff. But he adds nervously that at this pace, Ravis is looking at a game-over screen, and if he dies here, his soul is gone for good. Barkan asks Bambi what thing Ravis hates more than anything in existence. Bambi replies that Ravis hates everything, so it is hard to pick just one. Bambi comments on Ravis's spicy temper, wondering who he got that from, while Barkan avoids eye contact. Knowing exactly who the culprit is, Barkan drops the answer key. The thing Ravis hates most is filth. He laughs, explaining that Ravis is a total germaphobe who cannot stand anything dirty. Back on the battlefield, grinding his teeth in agony, Ravis spits out one word, filthy. His disgust peaks. He screams internally that he is done tolerating the vile, rotting stench coming off young Mo. Fueled by sudden rage, Ravis catches young Mo's wrist with a grip of steel, shoving him back and leaving the guy stunned. Ravis stares at his left hand, feeling like he just unlocked a piece of his old self. After a second of heavy silence, Ravis stands up as demonic energy coils around his arm, stating he has zero desire to touch that stinking garbage anymore. He decides to wrap this up fast and dashes toward his confused opponent. He lands a lightning-fast punch square in young Mo's face, making the guy howl in serious pain. Young Mo screams in total disbelief, mind blown, that a simple human could pack this kind of firepower. Street is on the sidelines going absolutely feral, hyping up her master, while Ravis flips the script, throwing young Mo's earlier trash talk right back in his face. He leans in with a dark smirk, asking if young Mo really mistook him for a mere human, just as a massive shadowy silhouette of his true demon form looms terrifyingly behind him. Without waiting for an answer, Ravis connects with a bone-shattering hook that sends young Mo flying across the room like a rag doll. The cultists scream in pure panic as their leader hits the deck hard, scrambling backward on all fours, cursing his luck and screeching at Ravis, demanding to know what kind of monster he actually is. Ravis closes the distance in a literal millisecond, towering over him and barking an order to shut his filthy trap. He delivers the finisher, a brutal stomp that knocks Yongmo out cold instantly, leaving him crumpled on the concrete. Meanwhile, back in the demon world, Bambi is watching the feed with his jaw on the floor, stunned by this sudden spike in power levels. Barkin breaks it down, explaining that the test subject's awakening released a stench so foul it basically triggered a migraine for Ravis, who has zero tolerance for filth. With a sly grin, Barkin reveals the secret: when Ravis's OCD-level obsession with cleanliness gets triggered, it forces an awakening. This clean freak rage allows him to tap into a fraction of his original god-tier strength. Bambi stares at him, totally bewildered. He can't believe Ravis is accessing his old powers while trapped in a meat sack, pointing out that even with the Bloodstone, this should be impossible. A sinner manifesting full demonic aura in the human realm breaks every rule in the book. Barkin just chuckles, doubling down on the fact that Ravis is built different. He's no average human no matter what the laws of physics say. Puffing his chest out, he brags that his nephew takes after him. Back in the fight, Yongmo is groaning in agony, completely wrecked. Ravis stares down at him with ice-cold eyes, calling him a moron, and telling him he should be thanking his lucky stars. He clarifies that the only reason Yongmo is still breathing is that Ravus is physically blocked from killing anyone in this vessel. Yongmo screams, refusing to process this info. He's losing his mind, screaming that he was personally blessed by Lord Power, so getting beaten like this shouldn't be happening. A frantic idea lights up in his eyes, and a twisted smile returns. He realizes he just needs to juice up on more of his master's blue ribbon. But Ravis reads him like a book, warning him to not even think about doping up, promising to end this beatdown right now. He decides to wrap this up without a fatality, charging his fist with swirling, ominous purple demonic energy. Moving faster than the eye can track, Ravis lunges and lands a devastating blow that completely flattens his opponent. The fight is over. Ravis stands tall and composed, while Yongmo lies there, unconscious, face completely rearranged. Ravis finally exhales, covering his nose with his hand, looking relieved. He notes with satisfaction that the disgusting smell is finally starting to dissipate. Meanwhile, at the gang's hideout, the vibe is pure chaos. Lim Xian is glued to his monitor, trembling as he watches the terrifying metrics of the I'm Here app, realizing the situation has gone nuclear. This isn't what he signed up for. Flashbacks of his traumatic high school days start flooding his brain. He remembers the suffocating pressure of forced social hierarchies and being trapped in classrooms with people he despised. It was a daily battle for survival, dodging bullies and faking interest in trends, just to blend in and avoid becoming a target. He spent years wearing a mask, pretending to hate things he liked, unable to form a single, genuine connection. He recalls his original mission to code an app that helped lonely souls find the real connections they desperately needed. Snap back to reality, he screams in frustrated rage, realizing his creation has been hijacked to traffic narcotics. Outside the office, the gang members look at their phones in confusion as the app starts glitching out uncontrollably. They start shouting about the bugs, while inside, Sion realizes he's out of time and jams a chair under the doorknob to barricade himself in. The thugs start pounding on the door, screaming threats and demanding to know what he's doing in there. Sion stands his ground in front of the PC, eyes locked on the screen, knowing he has to nuke the app permanently. The banging gets louder, with one goon outside threatening to break him in half if he doesn't open up. Desperation mode engaged, Sion hammers the keyboard to speed up the purge, while crimson warning lights strobe across his face. Suddenly the window shatters inward, and the gang breaches the room. One thug dives in first. He's cursing up a storm, and another guy tackles Sion from behind, putting him in a chokehold and demanding answers. The other gang members look at the screen and freeze in horror. The progress bar is moving. This guy is crashing the entire server. One of them shrieks, screaming to stop him before the database is wiped. Another one adds in pure terror that if Yongmo comes back and sees this, he's going to execute every single one of them. Even while getting pummeled on the floor, Sion grits his teeth, determined to tank the damage until the deletion hits 100%. He spots a jagged shard of broken glass on the floor and decides it's do or die. With a savage yell, Sion slashes his attacker's arm, breaks free from the grapple, and instantly grabs a heavy fire extinguisher like a weapon. Sion spins on his heels, eyes blazing with pure grit. He roars that this tech belongs to him. Calling them out for being total scum, he blasts the extinguisher right in their mugs. A massive white cloud blinds the room, leaving the goons shook, thinking the kid finally snapped. But through the thick white haze, Sion watches that loading bar hit 100%. Coughing his lungs out, he grins. Mission accomplished. But a thug bursts through the smoke like a jump scare, grabbing Sion and slamming him to the concrete. He barks at his crew to get the ropes. Deep inside the white fog, you hear coughing and a roger that. Crushed under the guy's weight, Sion's hope crumbles. He thinks this is the end game, that it's really over. Then a voice cuts through the smoke, calm, cold, and absolutely terrifying. Who gave you permission to touch my servant? The thug turns confused, right before a hand shoots out of the mist, and crushes his face. It's Ravis. He effortlessly smashes the guy into the floor. One goon screams his buddy's name, totally freaking out. Zero mercy shown. Ravis delivers a bone-shattering blow, while the others watch in pure horror. He's a blur moving through the smoke, and dropping bodies left and right with lethal precision. Ravis stands over the defeated squad, his eye glowing crimson red. He promises himself nobody takes what's his, not while he's still breathing. Cyan calls out, voice trembling, mind unable to process the save. Flashback to the good times. Cyan and Ravis chilling with Cyan hyping up his new project, showing off the interface. He breaks it down, the app's called I'm Here. It's a social hub for finding your tribe, sharing locations, and linking up for study sessions. Ravis was actually impressed his buddy built this. Then he pointed to a pulsing red button on the screen. Cyan got quiet. He admitted the guilt was eating him alive for not being there when Taewoo's crew jumped Ravis. He couldn't find him then, so he coded this feature. He explained the mechanics, smash that button, and his location pings the squad instantly. He told Ravis to use it if things ever went south. With a genuine smile, Cyan swore he'd come running. Didn't matter the cost. Cops, backup, whatever. He'd be there. Ravis appreciated the gesture and asked for the download link. Cyan was stoked. Snap back to the wreckage. Cyan whispers his friend's name. Ravis holds up his phone screen. Flashing the I'm Here emergency alert, he asks calmly, "You sent this?" Cyan's eyes go wide. Realization hits hard. Ravis got the ping. Tears well up, his best friend actually came for him. And the code worked. It actually saved him. Surrounded by debris, Cyan collapses in gratitude, sobbing thanks to Minho, while Ravis stands guard like a silent statue. Meanwhile, Street has a situation. She's tying up Jin Jae-hee, who's struggling and screaming, wondering how this tiny girl has super strength. Street tells her to shut it. Jae-hee groans, then freezes. She spots the master. Ravis walking up with Cyan. Street waves excitedly. Jae-hee looks like she's seen a ghost and tries to scramble away. Ravis gives a cold command, "Let her go. She's trash to us now." Ravis scans the area. All those creepy, devouring flowers, gone. At the container yard, it's a massive inferno. Firefighters roll up thinking they can contain the blaze, but they freeze when they see what's inside. Bound bodies roasting in the fire, creating a straight-up nightmare for everyone watching. It's the gang Ravis dismantled left to their fate. Later that night, the trio walks the quiet streets. Ravis connects the dots. His uncle and Bambi played him. They used him as a glorified cleaner for the Hilt family's mess. He vows silently, there will be a reckoning when he gets back to the demon world. Back in the room, Cyan's spiraling, asking if Ravis needs a hospital. Ravis scoffs. "Please, I'm fine." Cyan gets serious again, thanking Minho. He admits he didn't think anyone would actually come. Ravis tries to play it cool, acting like it was total luck, but Street hits him with a loud fake cough. She whispers, "Are you seriously trying to downplay the hero moment?" Flashback hits Ravis again. Cornering one of the gang members, he grills the guy, threatening to end him if he doesn't spill the location of their hideout. Jae-hee hits him with a bitter question, asking if he's going through this hell just for his buddy Lim Seon. Ravus flashes back to his own surprise, finally connecting the dots that his servant didn't just ditch school, he was snatched up by this crew. When Jae-hee presses him on his motive, implying there's no way he'd go this hard for anyone else, Ravis keeps his eyes glued to the distress signal pinging on his phone. Back in the room, Street isn't letting Ravis off the hook, lecturing him that human connections aren't just random accidents. She asks if he really plans to just breeze through this dimension for a year or two, and then ghost everyone to return home without forging a single real bond. She gestures toward Sion, who is staring at Ravus with total hero worship like he's some savior descended from the heavens. Sion cuts into the moment, asking who this mysterious girl is. Ravus drops a cold reply, she's just his follower, Street. That specific label rattles Sion, sending him spiraling into doubt about who his friend really is. He nervously asks about this sudden, unrealistic personality shift, and why this follower is dressed like she's at a cosplay convention. His internal monologue is screaming, convinced that Minho has gotten mixed up with some dangerous cult or syndicate. Ravus realizes that, with the threat level spiking around his servant, the masquerade is over. He decides to come clean, telling Sion that his gut feeling was right. He places a hand over his chest and drops the bomb. He is Ravus Bendika, the son of the great demon king, straight out of the demon world. Sion looks like he just got hit by a truck, staring at him in absolute stupefaction. Ravus keeps it cool, explaining that this is the new reality, and now that Sion knows the secret, he's drafted to help with future missions. Lim Sion processes this insane confession, with zero chill, stammering out Ravus's words, and calling it total unbelievable nonsense, while literally shaking. Suddenly, Street shifts into cat mode, and pounces onto his lap, making him let out a high-pitched scream. At the jump scare, Ravus is completely drained from the day's chaos, so he offloads the exposition duty to Street, telling her to clear things up for his friend. The cat turns to Sion with a playful vibe, telling him to open his ears and listen up. A talking cat is the final straw for Sion's sanity. He screams in pure panic, before his brain shuts down and he passes out cold. Far away from this drama, a man helps a battered young Mo get to his feet, confirming they scorched the evidence and need to split up. Young Mo is seething with toxic rage, shaking uncontrollably, convinced he was seconds away from ending the bastard who beat him. Suddenly, a mysterious figure in a cloak blocks their escape route. The truck driver pauses to check who it is, but the cloaked entity instantly mutes him with a wave of magical pressure. The figure steps up to Young Mo, coldly calling him a miserable child. Young Mo instantly clocks who this visitor is, shouting Lord Banbi and swearing furiously that he will definitely kill that enemy next time. Banbi calmly extends a hand, inviting him to take this conversation somewhere private. Back at the burn site, an investigator pulls up to the scene, getting a briefing that the fire is out and the dealers are subdued. She's looking around, baffled at who could have soloed this entire operation. She analyzes the drug samples and realizes this is major league bad news, especially since these meds actually got a green light from the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety. She is absolutely fuming that this poison was mass distributed to students, cursing the scumbags responsible. Out of nowhere, her partner drops to the pavement, groaning about a splitting headache. Caught off guard, she rushes to help him, but he frantically points her toward the car. But when she rips the door open, the back seat is empty. She screams in shock and anger, demanding to know where that bastard vanished to. In a hidden base, young Mo is on his knees begging a demon named Power, desperate for one more shot and more juice to take down his rival. He screams in desperation that he can absolutely win if he just gets a power-up. Power holds a glowing carnivorous flower and coldly roasts young Mo, asking if he has any clue how much those burnt flowers were worth. Then, he unveils a nightmare fuel laboratory, where rows of human bodies are lined up, acting as living soil for those demonic blooms. Power calls humans trash that can't be trusted, mourning his lost crop. Young Mo keeps spamming his plea for a last chance, swearing he'll get the kill. But Power shows no mercy, attacking him and jamming the flower straight into his eye, making young Mo scream in excruciating agony. As he howls that his eyes are burning, Power reminds him of the blood oath he swore. He commands him to prove his final loyalty through the flowers that are now fusing with him, and a bloom bursts from his head, while he lets out an endless scream of torment. Meanwhile, in her wrecked office, Jin Jae-hee is frantically searching for her missing wallet. She runs for her life, heart pounding against her ribs, screaming into the darkness, "Where is it?" A psycho with wild eyes creeps up behind her, flashing a twisted grin as he whispers that he already checked her office. The cops were swarming that place, so he followed his gut and came here instead. Jackpot. He found her. Jae-hee freezes, ice-cold terror gripping her chest. She screams at him, demanding to know who he is and why he's ruining her life. The junkie gets right in her face, roaring that she's the reason his forehead is completely messed up. Then he starts tripping hard, begging for more blue ribbon. Jae-hee spits back, calling him a total lunatic. She can't believe how much he must have dosed. Scrambling for a weapon, her fingers close around a jagged wooden stick. She curses her luck, wondering where this freak spawned from, but he doesn't give her a second. He lunges. A brutal strike sends her flying. She hits the dirt hard, screaming as pain explodes through her body. The man starts twitching on the floor, mumbling for his fix, until his mind completely snaps. His body warps and cracks, twisting into a grotesque monstrosity. He lets out a blood-curdling roar, screeching blue ribbon. Jae-hee feels her life slipping away. Panic sets in. She refuses to check out like this, not in this nightmare. Suddenly, a dark purple miasma floods the room. A shadowy figure steps out, muttering that Ravis is going to hate this mess. Broken and bleeding, Jae-hee drags herself across the floor, choking out a weak question. "Who are you?" She begs for salvation. But the demon steps into the light, flashing a chilly smile and offering a mock apology. "Sorry, sweetheart, can't help you there." He sneers, telling her that if she's destined for hell, she might as well embrace the drop. Jae-hee curses the universe, paralyzed with shock as the word hell echoes in her fading mind. Demon Bambi leans in with a sly grin, dropping a cryptic offer he'll let her body stay right here. Cut to the demon world. A massive Gothic palace looms where a powerful white-haired woman presides. She greets her little brother Barkan, but the pleasantries die fast. She knows he's cooking up a scheme. She confronts him about sending Ravis to the human world, furious that he dared to use her son as a pawn. Barkan just laughs it off. "Caught me," he smirks, telling her to chill out because Ravis is a big boy now. Then he drops the bomb. He didn't send the kid empty-handed. He implanted the demon bloodstone in him. The sister freezes, horrified. She explodes, getting right in his face. "Have you lost your damn mind?" She accuses him of broadcasting to the entire universe that the Demon King's heir is alone, vulnerable, and ripe for the picking. Barkan tries to talk her down, telling her to have some faith in Ravis, but she cuts him off. "It's not him I don't trust," she hisses. "It's the chaotic state of the world right now." She warns that the balance between worlds is on a razor's edge. One wrong move and the whole thing comes crashing down. Barkan doubles down. "The kid is a beast," he argues. "He's got my temper and raw power." He's the strongest fighter we have. Smack. She clobbers him screaming. That temper is exactly the problem, you idiot. Her eyes go cold. If even a scratch lands on Ravis's soul, you and I are dying together. Barkhan rubs his head whining like a child. I'm way too old for you to be hitting me like this. Then he throws a tantrum yelling for Bambi. Find me a spell to delete every older sister in existence, right now. She screams back that she doesn't want a psycho brother either. Bambi steps in, hands raised, trying to referee the madness. Guys, chill. She grabs Bambi by the throat. As he's being strangled, Bambi thinks, it's a miracle. Ravas survived this family. Growing up in this chaos without going insane, that's the real superpower. Back in the human world, Sion wakes up in a cold sweat. He looks at Minho trembling. Are you really a demon? Ravas nods coolly. That's the label humans use. Street the cat purrs, thrilled to be included in the US. Sion's face goes pale. He asks the big question. So, when I die, am I going straight to hell? Kid, you're already in hell, Ravas says darkly. He offers an escape ticket, come with him to the demon world. Nobody touches you there. He smirks, radiating arrogance. I'm the Demon King's heir. That makes me your master now. Sion panics, shaking his head. No, I don't want that. Ravas's expression instantly darkens. Try to back out, Ravas whispers, leaning in, and I'll pop your eyes out and eat them like hard candy. Sion freezes, absolutely terrified. Tears stream down his face as he asks one last thing. Where's the real Minho? Street yawns, looking at the broken boy. Minho, he was dead meat anyway. Confirming the ironclad law that implies only a vessel like his can handle the possession. Zion spirals into shock and denial, his voice cracking as he questions the senseless tragedy of his best friend. Unable to process Minho's brutal demise, Ravas shuts him down with his signature icy demeanor, telling him to quit moping, dropping the bombshell that they're all destined for a reunion in the underworld in a few decades anyway. It clicks for Zion that his ticket to the demon world is officially booked. Ravas scoffs at how limited human imagination is turning to Streak to confirm that the demon realm is actually a total vibe. Streak immediately switches into hype man mode, painting a picture of a hellscape reeking of gore and echoing with endless torture, which absolutely terrifies Zion. He begs her to zip it. Ravas gets serious, reminding him that day is a long way off and ordering him to act natural, warning him not to let this secret slip to a single soul. Zion reluctantly caves. Then Ravas groans that his mortal coil is aching again, and decides to bounce. Streak scrambles to follow him, shouting enthusiastically. On the trek back to his apartment, a splitting migraine hammers Ravas, and he clutches his skull, wondering if he burned through too much of the Bloodstone's juice. The second he walks in, he gets ambushed by Minho's sister, who jumps out with a flashy birthday cake beaming with pure joy. Ravas stands there totally lost about why they're celebrating, until the girl explains that she and her mom slaved over this cake since yesterday, admitting it might taste like cardboard. She playfully slaps a party hat on him, mentioning their parents are due back any second. She gets right in his personal space, insisting they kick things off with a birthday selfie. Ravas spots a nasty bruise on her face and demands an explanation. She gives an awkward chuckle, claiming she stepped in to save some grandma from a group of punks trying to brush the whole thing off. Ravas calls BS on her logic immediately. He thinks her behavior is bizarre. Why play hero when she's physically a weakling? She cuts his internal monologue short, shoving a slice of cake at him, insisting he must be starving. Ravas takes a bite and is floored by the flavor, a white, fluffy sweetness he's literally never experienced in his life. But the vibe dies instantly when Minho's stepdad storms in his expensive suit dripping with raw egg, bellowing at one of his lackeys to hunt down the trolls who egged him during his campaign rally, swearing he's going to end them. He sucker punches the subordinate, berating him for being too useless to stop the assault. The mom tries to de-escalate, but he violently shoves her aside, screaming at her to back off. The daughter pleads with him, defending her mom's innocence. That just snaps the father's rage onto them, and he starts ranting about how they dare stuff their faces with cake while his reputation burns. He charges at them in a blind fury, screaming that they are a total waste of space. Then, in a savage move, he obliterates the birthday cake with his bare hands, sneering that if he were their biological dad, they wouldn't even be able to swallow it. The mom sobs, begging him to stop because it's Minho's birthday. The dad laughs in her face at the idea, mocking the timing. He shoots a glare of pure venom at Ravas, calling the house a stifling hellhole, before slamming the door so hard it nearly comes off the hinges. Ravas stands motionless, amidst the ruins of the frosting. His eyes begin to glow with a demonic light as simmering rage builds. How dare this insect touch my property? The mother clutches her weeping daughter, whispering apologies over and over, leaving the girl to wonder what sin she committed to deserve this nightmare. Ravas surveys the shattered family unit, looking at the garbage stepdad with utter disdain, categorizing him as a human with an ego the size of a planet. Cut to a swanky high-rise suite overlooking the city at sunset, where that same man is venting his fury on an assistant, furious that Wee Young Mo has ghosted him and cut off the money flow. screaming and demanding to know what rock the guy is hiding under. He continues his toxic rant, complaining that even a simple photo op with Parliament member Park requires upfront cash, and trash talks why young Mo again. The assistant swears he's doing everything to track the guy down, but the candidate just keeps whining salty about having to suck up to a lowlife, just to boost his poll numbers, adding that everyone around him is useless scum. He gets cut short by another staffer, who bursts in frantic, announcing that a clip of his daughter Manhua is going viral on the internet. The father snaps at him, demanding to know what video. The assistant shoves a tablet in his face. He hits play. The footage reveals Minha staring down a pack of bullies, screaming that she's got every second on camera. She demands they back off immediately. One thug spits a curse at the lens, clearly hating that she dared to step in. Minha doesn't flinch. She's right in his face, yelling about how low you have to be to attack a helpless old woman. The father, he watches stone cold. On screen, the punks realize eyes are on them and scramble to escape the spotlight. The camera cuts. Minha is kneeling beside the victim, now checking for injuries, while the old lady pours out her gratitude. Beside him, the assistant is practically vibrating. He hypes it up, dropping the news that Minha is his daughter is basically campaign gold. He shows him the feed. The comments section is blowing up with hearts and praise. Slowly, the father's stoic mask begins to crack. That harsh gaze morphs into a calculating smirk. He realizes this mess isn't a problem. It's a perfect PR stunt. It builds his image right where it counts with the voters. Meanwhile, outside a sleek high-rise, a shadow looms. A mysterious voice cuts through the air, wondering how a face that gorgeous has been hidden away in some luxury penthouse. A man beckons two figures, Han Yong and Han Su. He calls them closer, flashing a screen with Minha's photo. A twisted grin spreads across his face as he speaks. She's stunning, and she's going to be the new vessel for Mother. Suddenly, Mother steps forward, a woman radiating terrifying power. She turns to the girl beside her, asking if jealousy is creeping in. The girl shakes her head, denying it instantly. Mother explains simply, that girl has the face she paid for. Then, she drops the chilling truth that body will soon be hers. Mother stares at her own hand, then back at the screen, complaining about how fast human flesh rots. It wrinkles, it withers, it gets ugly. But this time, finding this perfect vessel was destiny. Minha's face reflects in her hungry eyes while her followers whisper, calling the girl a pretty doll, wondering aloud what kind of sound she'll make when she finally snaps. Cut back to campaign headquarters. The candidate is watching the news cycle explode. His daughter is a local hero, and his poll numbers are skyrocketing. The video is viral. The assistant hypes him up. Minha's story is hitting the primetime slot at 9 o'clock. The father couldn't be happier. He flashes that scheming smile again, noting that the girl, the one who used to spout nonsense, has turned into his biggest asset. He makes a decision. Time to play the devoted family man. He turns to his assistant and starts barking orders. They need to ride this wave. Schedule, volunteer work, charity events, anything to get his daughter's name out there. Make it the only thing people talk about. Then the assistant drops a name, the CEO of Nox Entertainment. Han Young-ju has reached out. The candidate pauses, puzzled. Why them? The assistant explains. The CEO saw the viral clip, and he's interested in Minha. A dark, greedy grin stretches across the candidate's face. He murmurs the company name, sinking back into his chair in pure euphoria, dark shadows swirling around him. He declares it loud and clear, Minha is a total gold mine. Meanwhile, in a sunset-lit alley, Lim Sion connects the dots. The shocking truth, Minho's stepfather is actually the guy running for mayor. Ravis turns to Lim Sion, asking what he knows about the family. Sion shrugs. Minho never really opened up about it. Not directly, anyway. All he knew was that Minho was tight with his sister Minha. He cherished her more than anything. That word cherish catches Ravis's attention. It triggers a memory of his uncle's lectures back in the demon world. The rule was simple: cherish whatever you need to grow your power. A chaotic flashback hits him, his uncle bellowing that the rule applies to him too. Bambi is there, nodding along like a hype man, while a younger Ravis just side-eyed them, annoyed by the racket. Back in reality, Ravis snaps out of it. He demands to know how Street managed to slip through the portal. Street's excuse, she's been eating well lately. Ravis mocks the portal size. Are they all this tight before asking about Bambi? Street shakes her head. He wasn't there, but he left a note. Street flashes the message. It starts with a sarcastic, "Congrats on the good job." Then the mockery hits, suggesting Ravis try hunting with a rock next time. Oh, and a small gift is on the way, followed by a sarcastic, "Good luck." Ravis boils over. That troll, he screams that the bastard is just using him, just doing whatever he wants. Ravis vows to rip Bambi to shreds. Street tries to chill him out, but it's no use. Beside them, Sion checks his phone. He notes that Minho's dad is on track to lock down the mayor seat. The public is absolutely eating this story up. Ravis scoffs, disgusted that a guy like that could rule a whole city. Sion gently corrects him. It's not ruling, it's managing. But Ravis isn't buying it. He knows exactly what that man is: pure greed. He's getting major Cineros vibes, so he grills Citri. Is there any chance candidate Yoon Tae-sok is actually Cineros hiding in a human skin suit? Citri looks totally lost at the name drop. He has to break it down for her. Cineros is that bottomless pit from the underworld, a demon who gorges himself so much that even other devils can't stand to look at him. Citri tries to clap back, reminding him this is her turf and that Yoon is strictly a human being, but Ravi isn't buying it. He scoffs that for a mere mortal to climb to the governor's seat with that much filth just proves how rotten the human world really is. He pivots to Citri, who's stifling a yawn, and warns her to watch her diet, or she's going to morph into Cineros herself. She nods, terrified. Zion, however, cuts in with panic, warning that Yoon seems hell-bent on using Minha as a pawn, and the vibes are getting dangerous. Ravi mulls over the bond between Yoon Minho and Yoon Minha, but the second he steps through his front door, he hears a voice asking what Minha's fate looks like from here. He walks in to find his house invaded by shady strangers. One of them is gushing over Minha's visuals, claiming that with a little dance training, she'd be ready for an instant idol debut, maybe even the center of the group. Minha's mom tries to shut it down, insisting her daughter is still just a student who never asked for the spotlight. Her husband snaps, cutting her off cold and warning her not to embarrass him in front of the CEO. He pushes the narrative that wasting her natural-born talent is a sin. Then he pivots to the CEO with a fake apology, calling his wife old-fashioned. The CEO, Han Young-ju, flashes a practiced smile telling the mom to relax, promising that Nock's company guarantees a perfect balance between school life and her artistic career. She spins the tale that modern artists are built different. They can crush stage performances and still get that university degree. Ravi eyes this slick stranger, while the stepfather practically drools, asking eagerly if they just need to sign on the dotted line. The CEO nods, framing the contract as a golden ticket for Minha's future, and a massive boost for the politician's campaign. Suddenly, she spots Ravi lurking in the shadows. She turns smooth as silk, asking if he's the big brother. She introduces herself Han Young-ju, head honcho of Nox Entertainment. The stepdad barks at Minho, ordering him to show some respect and say hello. But the CEO waves it off, playing the cool aunt role, saying there's no need for tension, and that all kids have an attitude these days. But inside, Ravi's head memories of the real Minho's fierce love for his sister are screaming. Flashback to the demon realm, his uncle standing tall before him, hand over his heart swearing eternal loyalty. Young Ravi flinches, totally caught off guard, calling out this random burst of emotion. His uncle gets serious, telling him to open his ears, and warning him that their world is crawling with vipers, desperate to steal the ruler's power. He reminds the boy he is the heir, the one destined to take his father Gamadhir's throne and rule this world. And that heavy crown means he needs a squad. He needs to build his own faction. Young Ravi scoffs at the advice, flexing that his own power is more than enough to survive solo. His uncle chuckles at the kid's arrogance, admitting that might be true right now, but predicts a day will come when Ravi will find people his soul gravitates toward without him even knowing, and he'll start evolving before he realizes it. Ravi rolls his eyes at the philosophy lecture, demanding they just start training, making his uncle laugh with pride, declaring he's truly his nephew. Snap back to reality. Ravi steps up to Minha, trapped between her family and the suits, and hits her with the real question, does she actually want this? She looks shocked. He lays it out if she's being bullied into this deal. Just say the word and he'll shut it down. He'll get her out. He doubles down on the promise. He'll handle the mess. Minha stays quiet, but a nightmare from her past replays in her mind. Her uncle violently attacking her mother, screaming that she's ungrateful for trying to leave. He roars that she can't take Minho or Minha because they belong to his family registry. The mom begs for freedom, but he threatens to leave her destitute, completely penniless if she tries to run. The kids jump in, yelling that their grandfather left that property to them. The uncle sneers, calling them naive, just like their mom. Then he drops his twisted survival rule. Anything he puts his hand on belongs to him. That nightmare burns in her memory, becoming his property forever, while his fist crushes her mother's windpipe. In that horrific flashback, her mom begs Minha to never forget this lesson. Snap back to the present reality. Minha swallows the pain, choking out that this is her choice. She agrees to sign the devil's deal, but drops one non-negotiable condition, demanding every single dime she earns goes straight into her own bank account. Deep down, she makes a silent vow to drag her mother and brother out of that monster's reach. The stepfather just chuckles, instantly agreeing like it's nothing, claiming her hard-earned cash is hers to keep. Yeah, right. The CEO is all for it, pushing to ink the contract right now. Minna's mom is practically on her knees, pleading with the CEO to protect her daughter, calling her more valuable than life itself. She turns to Minha, asking one last time if she's really sure about this. Minha flashes a steel-willed smile, telling her mom to just trust her. She pivots to thank Ravis for caring, but he just watches the scene in stoic silence. Later that night, cruising in a luxury whip, CEO Han Yongju sizes up her new vessel, muttering to herself that the more she stares, the more perfect Minha becomes. She's obsessed with every detail. The visuals, the eyes, and that rare untouched purity you just don't find these days. But her purple-haired lackey interrupts the vibe check. Something is off about the brother Minho. He's glitchy, unnatural. She asks the other minion for a second opinion. The confirmation drops immediately. Minha's brother is radiating some weird energy. Connecting the dots, one of Han Yongju's followers is 100% certain Minho isn't human. That triggers a realization for Han Yongju. This kid has to be a tracker sent straight from the demon world. Her son volunteers to handle the threat, but she shuts that down fast. One hasty move could blow up their entire operation. The son is fuming, practically shaking with the urge to rip Minho apart for that arrogant glare. But his mom reminds him, the priority is the long game. She promises that the night of the moonless sky is coming soon. Once the ritual wraps and she hijacks Minha's body, he gets the green light to do whatever he wants. With that punk Minho, her son asks for a pinky promise with the creepiest childish excitement. She locks eyes with him. This isn't a favor, it's a gift. But then, her lackey makes a fatal slip-up. She drops the M-word Mara. Big mistake. Han Yongju shuts that down instantly, commanding her to delete that name from her vocabulary. I am Han Yongju, now she hisses. And she's being reborn as Jung Minha. Pure rage bubbles up as she makes a dark vow. She swears it on her life, not the Demon King, not even the 12 black seats. Nobody is blocking her path this time. Failure isn't in the cards. Cut to the next day, Minha marches straight into Nox Entertainment like she owns the place. CEO Han Yongju steps up facing a room full of nervous trainees. She drops a bombshell right in front of everyone. Minha is the new center of Zara. Boom. Mic drop. But Hayan, she isn't having it. She claims that spot has her name on it. She's been grinding for this. The CEO ice cold. She barely glances at Hayan and barks, learn to play backup. The CEO exits, leaving Minha with one order, don't mess this up. But later, Hayan corners Minha fuming. She throws the Nepo baby card, accusing Minha of riding her mayoral candidate daddy's coattails. She gets right in her face, screaming about theft. I gave 4 years to this, she yells. To make it worse, Minha had promised she wouldn't even touch the center position when she signed on. Hayan snaps. She lunges, going full savage mode, and rakes her nails across Minha's face. Minha freezes fingers, trembling as she touches the fresh cut. Meanwhile, over at the luxury penthouse, Han Yongju's son is glued to the screen, practically vibrating with excitement as the drama unfolds. Mom, look at this, he shouts, pure glee in his voice. Hayan actually clawed her face up. She's bleeding, but Han Yongju isn't smiling. Her face twists, morphing into a mask of pure demonic fury. To her, Hayan is just a bug, a filthy worm that dared to damage her perfect vessel. Elsewhere, Lim Xian and Street are vibing, talking about Minha's big debut. Street drops a question, thinks she can actually dominate the human world. She's cocky about it, flexing that she knows everything. I've been kicking it with humans for 200 years, I know how this works. Ravis shrugs it off. If Sis wants it, I'm good. But then his mood shifts when he mentions the CEO and her bratty kids. Those people. They make me sick. He caught something weird, they didn't even flinch under his demonic gaze. That's a huge red flag. He's betting they're actually demons, undercover in human skin. Street just nods, confirming the dark truth. Survivors who have walked the human world for centuries are masters of camouflage. Suppressing their aura is second nature. You have to stay on your toes because one slip in caution could cost you everything. She snaps at Ravis, warning him not to go rogue while he is piloting Minho's body. Sion throws some shade too, pointing out that Minho's intense death stare isn't exactly winning any popularity contests. Ravis isn't having it. He arrogantly brushes off the warnings, claiming his radar for demons is sharp as ever, or be damned. He insists his gut feeling about them is dead on. But Lim Sion just won't stop whining, complaining that they haven't even located this Barca guy yet. Ravis's patience snaps. He is officially done. He completely loses his cool, threatening to ship Sion off to a literal demon boot camp. He barks at Street to drag his sorry butt there immediately. Sion freezes terror written all over his face while Street is practically salivating to prove her loyalty. But the real reason Ravis is ticking, it's that bloodstone. He can't tap into it properly, and feeling this powerless is eating him alive. He feels so weak, stray dogs wouldn't even look twice at him. Desperate, he turns to Street. Did she figure out how to juice up the stone? Bingo. She gives him a firm yes, confident she's cracked the code to getting his demonic mojo back. That's all Ravis needed to hear. He decides to handle the power-up personally. As for the grunt work, he grabs Sion, who he brutally dubs Servant Number 1, and teams him up with Street. Their gig, stalking Han Yongju and her twin kids. Sion is shook by the humiliating promotion. Meanwhile, deep in a sketchy alleyway, Hayan is wandering around, sobbing her eyes out. 4 years of training flushed down the toilet just like that. Suddenly, a shadow looms over her, clutching a gleaming blade. Panicking, she stammers out a "Who are you?" Turns out it's one of Han Youngju's personal lackeys. Hyeon's blood runs cold. She starts babbling, asking if she messed up, launching into a frantic apology. "Is this about Manhua?" she pleads. The assassin doesn't even blink. She ignores the begging and slashes Hyeon in one clean motion. "Ice cold," she whispers. "How dare you scratch Minhwa's face?" Apparently, Mother has zero tolerance for damaged goods. We cut to a nightmare from the past. The real Han Youngju is heading home late, totally unaware of what's coming. Her husband greets her with open arms, pure love. But in the shadows, a slimy, nightmare-fueled demon is watching them. It trailed them all the way home, shifting into a hulking predatory monster. Later, when the lights go out, Yongju is trapped in a bad dream, but the danger is real. The creature creeps onto her bed, obsessing over her. She wakes up screaming, demanding to know what it is. It doesn't answer, just wraps its claws around her throat. While choking the life out of her, it vows to wipe out humanity. As her vision fades, it whispers, "Don't worry about the kids. I'll raise them myself. I need a child." Her heart stops her last thought, lingering on her babies. She goes limp, then, snap. The corpse rises wearing a twisted demonic grin. The husband stirs, hearing the commotion, and calls out nervously. The thing wearing his wife's face lunges, choking him out and mocking, "Are you really my husband?" She sneers at him, calling him low-class trash. "I can't live with a loser like you." Terrified, he begs to know who she really is. Silence. She drags him to the balcony and hurls him off the edge, while he screams Yongju as he plummets to his death. Dusting off her hands, the possessed vessel stands there, heavily pregnant, and declares victory. "This body is mine now." Cut to the hospital delivery room, where the possessed woman is ready to give birth. Agonizing shrieks tear through the room as she erupts, screaming right in the medical team's faces. She demands they rip these filth-ridden parasites out of her body, swearing she'll slaughter every last one of them. With a final blood-curdling screech, she curses the name Ines. The delivery room freezes in pure terror. A nurse stands paralyzed mind, reeling because those newborn twins, they carry features that are twisted and disturbing. It forces her to question her own sanity. Cut to a time skip, the possessed mother stands in her trashed apartment. She's griping about her sluggish post-birth body, glaring with self-loathing at the belly fat she calls hideous. Down on the floor, the twins crawl toward her, desperate for attention, but she shuts them down with zero maternal instinct. She snaps, accusing the little runts of draining her magic, and screaming at them to give it back. In a sudden burst of rage, she kicks one away, disgusted that they are still just crawling. Then, the mask drops. She commands them to grow up fast so they can serve as her bodyguards until she hunts down a new vessel, one strong enough to hold her vengeful spirit. Years later, the rumor mill is buzzing about Youngju. Especially after her husband offed himself, people notice she has gone completely off the deep end. They whisper that the old Youngju is dead and gone, wondering what nightmare her kids are living in. She is practically a ghost, refusing to let anyone see the twins weird, considering how hyped she was to finally conceive. Cut to a dimly lit club. She corners a media insider, eyes gleaming, asking if his job connects him to any stunningly gorgeous young talent. Pure predator vibes. She mind controls him instantly, speaking internally to In-Ah. "Even in this hellhole, beauty survives, and I'm taking it all." She ends the scene with a venomous vow to crush In-Ah with her own bare hands. Flash forward, police station. Han Youngju is putting on an Oscar-worthy performance, sobbing to the detective. She wails that Hyun was gifted, loved, and destined for stardom. But when the cop asks about enemies, she collapses, faking a medical emergency. Right on cue, her son steps in, demanding they back off. He claims his mother loved the victim like her own flesh and blood. Then he drops a suggestion. "Go talk to the other trainees." The cop buys it, nodding as he exits with his partner. The second the door clicks shut, Youngju drops the act. Her face twists into demonic fury before she lurches forward. She violently purges a green, slime-filled bile crawling with worms. She is absolutely losing it. She curses the nosy detective, screaming about all the bribe money she wasted on high-ranking officials. Her son tries to de-escalate, noticing the parasites have reached her brain. She shrieks in panic, her body is rotting, and she is out of time. She rages about how that girl, Hyun, dared to damage her current vessel. Her son hugs her, promising he is securing Jung Min-ha for the transfer immediately. He begs her to chill, but she glares back with eyes that definitely aren't human. She commands him to execute the plan somewhere else now. Meanwhile, gossip spreads about Hyun's attack. One trainee calls the attacker a psycho, and Sun nods in agreement, acting all shocked that some creep would attack a girl in broad daylight. Suddenly, a staff member drops the bomb for safety. Everyone is moving into the dorms starting tomorrow. One girl snaps back, asking if this lockdown is really necessary. Sun turns to Min-ha, his voice dripping with hidden meaning, asking why she is so against the dorms. He reminds her it is standard idol protocol, then leans in, whispering a creepy invite to unite with him. Min-ha tries to push back, panicked about leaving her mom and brother alone. Han Young cuts in cold as ice, complaining that Minha is too high maintenance. Then come the threats. Get on board or I'll make you. But her brother Hansu rushes in, grabbing her shoulder. He whispers a frantic warning. Mom will slaughter us if you put a single scratch on Minha's face. She is the vessel. He pivots to Minha, switching to a smooth, manipulative tone. He lies, saying Han Young is just grieving Hyun and is super fragile right now. He gaslights her. Don't trigger her. Just be a good girl and listen. Han Young announces the CEO will handle their parents. She orders Minha to pack up and be ready by tomorrow. The thought of moving into the dorms has her completely freaked out, especially with her brother acting super sketchy lately. It's bad vibes all around. Those fears are only getting worse. Meanwhile, cut to Lim Sion. The dude is practically wheezing, dying from exhaustion. He's shaking like a leaf, trying to bench baby weights while Ravis watches him with pure disgust, casually repping massive plates. Ravis handles 30 kilograms like it's a feather. He can feel the gains coming in, thinking his muscles are finally leveling up. Maybe enough to crush regular humans, messing with demonic energy. But let's be real, facing a legit demonic monster right now, he'd get wrecked. Rage starts boiling over as he curses Bambi out, wondering how that guy dared to toss him into this mission, without handing over the manual on how to control the demon bloodstone. Talk about a setup. Flashback time. Bambi actually penned a letter to his buddy Ravis, promising 2 gifts to fix his current weakling status. Gift number 1 was the cheat code for controlling the demon bloodstone. The letter explained he rigged the stone to link Ravis's sealed demonic energy straight to his human body. But the catch is full power only unlocks if the stone shatters, which literally means shattering his eye. Gift number 2, that kid, Street. Bambi left her in Ravis's care and ended the note asking for it to be delivered so Ravis could get his mojo back. But here's the tragic comedy. Ravis, being a total hothead, had ripped that letter to shreds before reading a single word. The realization hits him like a truck. He's standing there in shock, wondering if the instructions he needs are in the pile of confetti he just made. His mental panic gets interrupted by Street in cat mode, barging in and screaming that everything has gone to hell. Sion's brain breaks seeing a cat sprinting on 2 legs, while Ravis just sighs, asking her what the drama is about this time. She's breathless, saying it's about Han Young-ju and the twins he told them to spy on. Then she drops the bomb. The CEO isn't human. Her true identity is Mara. Sion is totally lost, so Street spells it out. She is Mara Filius, the sorceress of greed, a heavy hitter from the 12 Black Seats who hijacked a human meat suit to hide out here. A wicked grin spreads across Ravis's face. He realizes the rat was hiding right under their noses the whole time. His mind drifts back to a ceremony in the demon world. His mom, Lady Inez, was the main character that night, stunning everyone so hard they were calling her a literal goddess. One fan asked for her beauty routine, specifically the secret behind her lips. Inez dropped some wisdom, saying, "You have to carry the truth inside you first, if you want to be beautiful." The crowd ate it up, mesmerized by how she spoke like she was reciting poetry, wishing they could glow up like her, just by speaking the truth. One mom in the crowd says she's making her daughter study the art of eloquence to be just like Lady Inez, teaching her that words are both a weapon and a shield. Moved by this, Inez decides to grant the daughter the blessing of the silver tongue. Meanwhile, Mara is watching from the sidelines, looking like she swallowed a lemon, calling the whole thing trash. Someone tries to hype Mara up, praising her beauty too. Mara gives a cold thanks and announces she's going to give that daughter a blessing also. But it was a twisted curse, wishing for the girl to suffer and die. Totally consumed by desire, the mom is paralyzed with shock, while Mara swears a blood oath to herself, screaming the name Inez with pure, deep-seated venom. Back in the present, Street explains that Mara has a massive inferiority complex when it comes to Lady Inez. Ravis nods, adding that his mom told him Mara had been a hater since childhood, but Inez never gave her the time of day. He reveals that Mara, after snagging a seat on the 12 Dark Thrones, got caught looting the Spring of Demon Souls and bailed to the human world. Lim Sion asks the million-dollar question: why is she targeting Minha? He guesses maybe she knows who Ravis really is. Ravis shuts that down. If she knew, she wouldn't be playing nice. She'd have attacked already. He knows that, in his current nerfed state, taking her and her minions on is a suicide mission. Street gets hype, saying they need to juice up the demon bloodstone immediately, and she's ready to start the prep work. She announces that step 1 in hunting the sorceress is cleaning up the low-life trash in the neighborhood. Over at the shops, Minha's mom is spiraling, begging her daughter to quit the job, especially with all these freaky accidents happening. Minha tries to chill her out, saying her manager is confident the cops will catch the culprit soon, and insists it's just some random psycho, nothing supernatural. Her mom reminds her being a veterinarian was the endgame, but Minha crunches the numbers that dream takes way too long to manifest. She needs a fast pass to extract her mom from that toxic nightmare of a house like yesterday. She hits her mom with the hard truth. Windows of opportunity slam shut, and dreams, they evolve. She declares she's chasing clout and big paychecks, leaving her mom absolutely crushed. The distance terrifies her mother, but Manhua promises the stepdad's rage will cool off once the elections wrap up. Post-election, the guilt hits. Her mom breaks down, apologizing for the second marriage that ruined everything. Manhua shuts that pity party down. She reminds her mom of the grit it took to raise 2 kids solo. Taking care of her and her brother wasn't easy, and losing their dad, that wasn't on her. That man was a master manipulator, charming before the ring, a monster after. He played them all. Manhua begs for a little patience while she grinds elsewhere. Cut to a theme park, buzzing with clueless teens. Ravis glares at the joyride, judging the mortals for paying to be terrified. Total pathetic behavior. Sion pokes the bear, suggesting Ravus is vibrating with demon fear, sparking immediate denial. Ravus claims it's just a stomach bug, but internally swears off roller coasters for eternity. They loom before the haunted house, the demonic aura thick enough to choke on. The silence is heavy. Ravis breaks the tension, demanding confirmation from Stria. Is this the spot? She nods, hype levels maxed out, addressing him with full respect. Absolutely, Lord Ravis. Stria drops the intel. A rogue demon slipped the leash and went off-grid in the human world. Her sensors locked onto him. Ravis keeps his cool, asking for the target's identity. While Sion literally shakes in his boots, Stria drops the name, Scream. This guy feasts on vocal cords, turning terror into fuel. The strategy bait him. They need a loudmouth target. Sion realizes he's the designated victim, and flips out. He starts capping hard, claiming he's a fearless alpha who has literally never screamed. Ravis smirks. Finally, you have a purpose. He ignores the protests and marches in. He drags the whimpering Sion into the abyss, while the guy begs for a timeout. Stria cheerfully volunteers for door duty. Inside, pitch black. It's decked out in budget horror props. Ravis is baffled by why humans pay for this cringe, but Sion's radar goes off. The plastic spiders are fake, but the danger is 100% real. Ravis tells him to chill. They're the hunters here, not the prey. Quit being extra. Bam. A prop corpse drops from the ceiling. Sion screeches like a banshee. Ravis. He definitely lets a bad word slip. Sion catches him in 4K, pointing out that the big bad demon lord just flinched. Ravis goes into damage control mode. I was just method acting, testing the waters. He deflects, grilling Sion about that high-pitched noise. Sion sheepishly admits defeat. Ravis realizes this chaos is perfect. It's the ultimate battery charger for the Bloodstone. Every time the stone vibes with human misery, it unlocks more juice. And if he drains a high-level demon, that stone is going nuclear. A voice oozes from the shadows, rating Sion's scream a 10 out of 10 pure crimson sweetness. The entity manifests, drooling over the sound, pure as a newborn's panic. Sion freezes. The monster dives at him, addicted to the sound, demanding an encore. Sion hits a high note, screaming for Manhua, realizing this is the real deal. Claws, inches from Sion's face. Ravis steps in. Blocked. He catches the demon's wrist like it's nothing. Hands off the merchandise. He's mine. The monster recoils, sensing instantly that this isn't some helpless human snack. Ravis's eyes flare crimson. He flashes a predator's grin. Hey Scream, let's see what kind of noise you make when you bleed. Ravis swings. Scream didn't just block the hit. He brushed it off, cackling at the idea that a lightweight like Ravis could even scratch him, while Cyan panicked in the background. The demon completely ghosted Ravis, locking his sights on Cyan, who was shrieking Minho's name like his life depended on it. Feeding off that raw panic, Ravis forced himself up, leaning heavily on one knee as he realized the grim reality. His left arm was the only weapon he had functioning. Suddenly, Scream blasted a wave of dark energy, slamming Ravis face first into the dirt. Cyan screamed a warning, but that just fueled the monster. The demon soaked up the noise, taunting Cyan to keep screaming if he wanted to stay alive. Shut up, Ravis roared from the floor, glaring at Cyan. You're not helping, your noise is literally buffing him. Cyan slapped both hands over his mouth instantly, mumbling terrified apologies through his fingers. Scream sneered at the trembling boy before turning his sadistic gaze back to Ravis. Maybe I'll rip your eyes out and wear them as jewelry, he hissed. A massive fist pulverized the concrete where Ravis just was, but he rolled away at the last second, scrambling back to his feet. His left hand flared with a sinister pink aura. Smirking, he taunted the beast. You think I'm the one shaking in my boots? Think again. Ravus launched a counteroffensive, but the demon just laughed at his reach, calling his attacks cute and adorable. While the demon danced around his punches, Ravus swallowed a bitter pill. This human vessel's stats were absolute trash. No way could he take down a boss-level threat with these limitations. Scream saw the hesitation and capitalized on it. He snatched Ravus up like a ragdoll. Cyan could only watch in horror, hands over his mouth, muffled cries from Minho escaping his throat. With Ravus crushed in his grip, Scream condensed the energy from Cyan's fear into a jagged, glowing green blade. I'm gonna love the sound you make when I carve your eyes out, the demon purred, brandishing the spectral weapon. Ravus boiled with rage. No way in hell was he giving this low-level trash the satisfaction of a single whimper. Calling his bluff, The demon brought the tip of the blade closer inch by agonizing inch, until it pressed right against Ravis's pupil. The blade thrust forward. Cyan let out a blood-curdling scream of pure despair, but then something insane happened. Instead of piercing the eye, the energy sword shattered like glass. Ravis grinned like a maniac, blood streaming down his face from the impact. His vision sharpened instantly. The human eye was gone, replaced by a glowing crimson demonic pupil. Suddenly, Bambi's letter clicked in his mind. That sneaky genius had rigged the demon bloodstone to his human biology. The bind restricted his full potential. The only way to unlock the floodgates was to literally break the stone itself. So that's how you want to play it, Bambi Ravis realized. The condition for unlocking his power was getting hit in the face. Dark energy exploded off him. Scream froze, visibly confused. How? My sword. It couldn't even scratch a human eye. I'm no mere mortal, Ravis roared, launching himself forward with god-tier speed and burying a fist into the demon's gut. Ravis whipped around to Cyan with a bizarre demand. Scream loud as you can. Cyan looked at him like he was crazy. But that buffs him, Cyan panicked. Just do it, Ravis barked. Cyan didn't get the logic, but he had to trust his friend. Closing his eyes, Cyan unleashed a lung-busting shriek. Scream grinned, happily drinking in the fresh wave of fear energy. But while the demon gloated, Ravis felt another seal shatter, this time on his right leg. As the bloodstone surged, the demon laughed, convinced Ravis had just signed his own death warrant with that arrogant move. But Ravis just smirked, ready to drop the truth bomb on this stunned monster. You're lagging, Ravis explained. Every time you absorb a scream, you freeze up for a split second. He dropped into a combat stance. Now it's my turn to make you scream. Ravis blurred into motion. Before Scream could react, Ravis delivered a catastrophic blow that flattened the demon instantly. The impact didn't just break the demon, it completely pulverized the remaining casing on the demon bloodstone. Limitless power flooded his veins. Ravis realized if he kept farming these demons for their energy, he'd be back to full strength in no time. Scream let out one last gurgle before disintegrating into dust. As he siphoned the remaining energy through his eye, Ravis let out a sigh of relief. The grind was working. It worked perfectly. The XP he got from this demon was leagues above the scraps he got from human malice. With the bloodstone seal broken, the path was clear. Keep eating demons until he was the king of hell again. Cyan crept out from his hiding spot, voice shaking. Minho, you good? It looked like you ate him, Cyan whispered. Ravis flashed a terrifying toothy grin. Relax, kid. Now, Ravis said, eyes burning with hunger, let's go find me another snack. Meanwhile, downtown, outside a massive skyscraper, Manhua was sweetly thanking a staff member for showing her to the dorms. But the official blocking the exit, that's Han Young, Mara's daughter, and she's dropping the hammer. Nobody leaves this place until the training camp kicks off. Minha reluctantly caves. But the second Han Young steps out and slams that door shut. Minha lets out a heavy sigh, her mind drifting to her mom and brother. She hypes herself up, clenching her fists and swearing she can handle this. Totally oblivious to the creepy surveillance camera in the corner, capturing her every move. On the other side of the screen, Mara is watching like a hawk, telling Suya, look, she's pumped. Hansu pulls her into a hug, prompting Mara to test his loyalty. Will he still obey? Even if she morphs into a monster. Without missing a beat, he swears he's riding with her until the end. Meanwhile, out on the city streets, Ravis and Cyan are patrolling, when Street catches a whiff of fresh blood. She immediately goes into full theatrical mode, congratulating her master, Ravis Vindika, on getting his mojo back, hailing him as the supreme lord of blood and life. She vows to be the shadow clinging to his heels, following him to the deepest pits of darkness, to paint the town red in his honor. Ravis, completely over her drama, cuts her off with a bored look, telling her to quit the cringe acting, drop the coordinates for the next targets and start tracking Mara. He makes it crystal clear he wants to delete Mara from existence. The second his power bar is full, Street snaps to attention, ready to serve. Cut to a shady hideout where a demon named Abib Sheol is vibing, smoking a cigarette that literally feeds off the toxic bad vibes coming from human lungs. Suddenly, he feels a chill. Ravis teleports right in front of him, icy and commanding, ordering the demon to fall in line, leaving the guy completely shook and confused. In a panic, the demon blows a cloud of poisonous smoke right into Ravis's face. After the initial strike, Ravis starts gagging, choking on the absolute stench of the foul smog. Shaking it off, Ravis moves to the next mark. Another demon named Asura, who's busy draining the life force out of drunk humans in a dark back alley. Ravis roasts the guy, complaining that this demon smells just as trash as the last one. His companion is scratching his head, wondering why the heck there are so many Majin demons flooding the human world, and why they have to munch on humans just to stay alive. Ravis drops the lore demons that cross the dimension barrier, get nerfed, and lose their magic, so they have to hunt for a substitute food source, or they'll literally glitch out of existence. A terrified Cyan finally realizes that those horror stories about demonic possession aren't just urban legends, they're real. Ravis senses his mana tank is full enough and decides to flex his new stats. A massive pink aura explodes from his hands, leaving Cyan completely stunned. Ravis summons his legendary blade Damn Recall, even though it's not fully formed yet, announcing that he's finally got his weapon back. Cyan, sweating, asks if it's really safe to send Street out on a solo mission. Ravis waves it off, explaining that her energy signature is so tiny, literally the size of a rat turd, that she's practically invisible while she's in bat mode doing recon. Speaking of Street, she's flying around complaining about starving to death. Suddenly her radar pings on something weird, crawling in the dirt. She dive bombs it like a lightning bolt and snatches it up, but she freezes when she sees what she caught. It's a grotesque worm wriggling in her claws. She instantly recognizes the vibe this thing is dripping with Mara's magic. She realizes she needs to report this massive red flag to Ravis as soon as possible, so she pulls a U-turn and speeds back to base. Meanwhile, in the company parking garage, Hansu is simping for his mom's approval, bragging about how he knocked Minha out cold, basically begging for a good job. Mara, still in human form, flashes a wicked demonic grin and tells him to hustle. Hansu drags Minha's limp body out of the car while Mara keeps pressuring him to speed it up. Street finally catches up to Ravis, trying to spill the tea, but with the gross worm still in her mouth, it just sounds like gibberish. She spits the wriggling creature onto the floor. Ravis recoils at the nasty smell while she gestures for him to check out her find. She presents the worm, confirming it's definitely one of Mara's parasitic minions. The conclusion: Mara lost her physical form, crossing the barrier and hijacked a human body. Ravis adds the missing puzzle piece. The appearance of these parasites means Mara is desperate for a new host because her demonic soul is burning through that human vessel way too fast. Cyan looks horrified, realizing the whole idle trainee contract was just a trap to steal Minha's body. Ravis nods, confirming the theory, explaining that Mara has always been obsessed with youth and beauty. He gets annoyed, ranting about how that old hag, who is literally older than his own mother, is acting like a lunatic instead of acting her age. This sparks Cyan's curiosity, so he asks how old Ravis's mom actually is. Ravis casually drops the number in human years. She's about 6,375. Cyan's jaw hits the floor. Completely shook, he stammers and asks Ravis, "Wait, then how old are you?" Ravis pauses, trying to do the math. Suddenly, a core memory unlocked, flashing back to when he was just a kid and his uncle first dragged him into the human realm. We're talking ancient history. Humans were literally stacking blocks for the Great Pyramids. Uncle Varkan was puffing his chest out, laughing, and claiming they were building that temple just for him. He was bragging about how no low-tier demon god could ever touch a body like his. But then Banbi stepped in to burst his bubble with a harsh reality check, dropping the news: "They aren't worshipping you, genius. That's for Ra, up in the celestial world." Varkan absolutely lost it, screaming about why they'd simp for a god he'd already crushed. Banbi shrugged, clueless, but Varkan refused to listen. He needed a reason, declaring the temple was his anyway, before breaking into a crazy, hysterical laugh. Snap back to the present. Cyan did the math, noting that those pyramids are 4,000 years old, meaning Ravis is basically a dinosaur. But Street cut him off, totally freaking out. Screaming a warning to Ravis, his sister was seconds away from being devoured by Mara. That sentence hit Ravis like a freight train. His mind raced, terrified for Minha's fate. Meanwhile, Mara drifted into a dark flashback of the night she was born, under a completely empty, starless sky. Hanyang asked if they were at the right spot, and Mara nodded. This was Ground Zero, the exact intersection where the demon world bleeds into the human world, a secret crack hidden from those prying celestial eyes. Out of nowhere, a shadowy figure materialized, leaving Mara guessing. Then boom, another demon stepped out of the blackness, shooting them a cold glare and demanding names. Mara dropped the act and declared, "I am Mara Filius. And this dimensional crack, it's mine." The demon Powerhilt looked completely shook. Powerhilt started roasting her, calling her a washed-up fugitive who used to run with the Black Thrones. But look at you now, magicless and weak. He claimed the turf for himself and told her to beat it. Hansu, struggling under the weight of Minha's unconscious body, looked at these creatures like, "What even are you?" The demon snapped at him. "Watch where you step, those are my flowers," Mara sighed, admitting she wasn't at full power, explaining that just keeping this human form together was draining her dry. But she grinned she hadn't come unprepared, and pointed at her two sons, her personal bodyguards. The demon scoffed, laughing at the idea of half-human, half-demon hybrids, mocking the parents for hiding behind their kids instead of protecting them. Mara didn't even blink at the insults, figuring, since she gave them life, they owed her their service. Then she snapped, "Take your pathetic weeds and get lost." Calling his sacred flowers weeds triggered him instantly. He exploded into a blind rage, screaming, "Do you know who I am?" But before he could finish, Hansu delivered a brutal kick to his face, asking, "What's your deal, man?" Mara smirked, satisfied. "That's my boy." Flashback to another dark memory. She remembered forcing that vile liquid down her children's throats, water from the stolen spring of the demonic soul, while lamenting how she lost it. She screamed at them, asking if they had any clue how hard it was to steal that power. The kids were sobbing as she forced them to swallow. They choked it down. That wasn't just water, it was from the spring of the demonic soul, located in the deepest, darkest valley of the demon world. Legend says it's filled with the tears of the creator god himself, the raw source of all magic energy. That holy water was the only thing that could quench her endless greed. She hated Demon King Gamatir Findika with a passion, despising him for hoarding a spring that didn't even belong to him. Back in the memory, she told her kids to drink up and become her shields. She thought it was a waste of good power on them, but she had no choice. Her endgame hunting down Sir Kale, who was hiding out among humans. Elsewhere, Street was tracking Mara's scent, struggling, but that foul stench was getting stronger. Finally, they pulled up to a creepy, abandoned building. This is the spot. No doubt. Ravis and Cyan caught up, staring in disbelief, shocked to find a building in the middle of nowhere. Street groaned that the smell was totally frying her nose. Cyan was practically on his knees, begging Ravis to save Minha. Ravis started walking, but Cyan panicked and stopped him. I can't go, I'll just slow you down. Ravis looked at him cold as ice. Nonsense. You'll make an excellent human shield, which made Cyan's jaw drop. Street totally missing. The vibe started cheering. Go get her, Master Ravis. Beat Mara down. Ravis pointed at Street. You're coming too. We need bodies. Street froze, smile fading fast. Shaking like a leaf, she instantly regretted her life choices. She wished she was back safe with Master Banby, wondering who cares about wealth and glory if you're dead. Inside, Mara was prepping the ritual, with Minha lying there, unconscious in the center of a glowing magic circle. That defeated demon Powerhilt was on his knees begging Mara for mercy. Please, you need me to survive in this human world. But Hansu stepped forward, cutting the pity party short. Mother, let me handle him. Powerhilt started blubbering, swearing he'd work his tail off for her. He keeps roasting the squad in front of him, breaking them down one by one. You've got a junkie traitor who sold out his own family, a fugitive, motivated by pure greed. And a hybrid twin. Honestly, they deserve each other. The whole crew spins around to face him. Hansu is completely thrown off, wondering if this guy is actually Minha's brother, while Mara drills holes into him with a deadly glare. Hearing the word, you, Sion almost jumps out of his skin. He's shaking uncontrollably, his brain refusing to process that the corpses, littering the floor, are legitimate dead bodies. Ravis clocks one of the twisted abominations, sprouting demonic flowers, identifying him as Wei Youngmo. He creates a savage moment, casually mentioning he wondered where that guy had vanished to. Ravis turns his attention to Sion, hitting him with a cold reality check. Without him, Sion would be rotting just like those corpses. He drops a menacing question, asking the kid if he's ready to follow orders now. Absolute terror grips Sion's heart, and the sickening realization hits him. This isn't a game. This is the demon world in all its gruesome glory. The demon power snaps at Ravis, blaming him for wrecking his master plan. Meanwhile, Hansu confirms the bad news to his mom, Mara telling her his gut feeling was spot on. This kid is. Stria completely loses it, screaming her lungs out and blowing her master's cover. He is Lord Ravis Bendica, the monster who slaughtered Power's entire bloodline before getting stranded in the human realm. Mara is absolutely shook by this reveal. Shock turns to explosive rage as she realizes she is staring at the Demon King's only heir and the son of her nemesis Anas. Power sees red roaring Ravis's name as the trauma hits him. This guy is the butcher who wiped out his kin. But then the realization hits. This is his chance. His opponent isn't the invincible king of massacre right now. He is just a prisoner trapped in a fragile human meat suit. Revenge is finally within reach, and he can take it with his own hands. Mara shrieks with malice, cursing Anas for having the nerve to drop her son into the human world to mess with her plans. Ravis runs the numbers. With his powers nerfed, taking on all three of them at once is a suicide mission, especially since Power is a loose cannon ready to backstab him. Ravis decides to bench the confrontation with Power for now. He gives a cold order to get lost. Power snaps back, refusing to budge, and vowing to end Ravis right there. He mocks Ravis, asking if he still thinks he's big time. That is the last straw for Ravis's patience. His eye flares crimson as he screams, giving Power an ultimatum: leave now or die on this spot. With a cocky smirk, Ravis drops a thunderous command, ordering Power to spread the word to every demon in town. Tell them the Lord of Blood has descended. They need to stay invisible until he returns, if they don't want to be hunted down like dogs. Power is stunned, unable to process how Ravis is using magic inside a human shell. It defies all logic. Terror takes over, and Power takes off running, cursing the whole way. He leaps straight out of the building. Ravis pivots to Mara, casually disrespecting her by calling her an old hag. He drops some hard truth. You want youth. Endure the bone-grinding pain. Don't just steal bodies like a cheap crook. Mara seethes at the insult, screaming in his face about respecting his elders. But her body gives out, coughing up blood violently. Her son Hansu begs her to stop burning through her power. She regains composure, noting that her curiosity is piqued. A twisted, demonic smile spreads across her face. She wonders aloud what kind of face Honest will make when her kids rip this little prince to shreds. She holds so dear. Ravis matches her vibe with a twisted grin of his own, clapping back that he's actually dying to see the look on her face when the kids of the woman she spent her whole life envying get absolutely wrecked. Mara snaps a command to her spawn Hansu, and Hanyang, wondering which one will be the first to rip out that loudmouth's tongue and drop it at her feet. Hansu steps up with zero hesitation, hyping himself up as the main character here. He swears he's got this in the bag and summons his demonic weapon, telling his mom to just sit tight. Meanwhile, Hanyang locks in, gripping her dual blades as they ignite with a menacing purple aura, her eyes looking like pure steel. But Hansu isn't having it. He shrieks at his twin sister Hanyang, telling her to get the hell out of his lane, and flexing that his weapon binaural is all he needs to shut this clown up. And let's be real, this beef between the siblings isn't a new vibe. In every single past battle, they've been more likely to trip each other up than actually help. The trash talk escalates, with Hansu screaming at the top of his lungs that his sister is literally blocking his kill. Hanyang claps back with ice in her veins, telling him to shut his trap and just be grateful he gets to watch her back. Ravis watches the drama unfold and instantly clocks it. Their teamwork is absolute trash, zero synergy. He decides to play that to his advantage. Sliding effortlessly between the bickering pair, he taunts them, laughing that they look ready to rip each other to shreds before he even lifts a finger. Death is inches away, but the real drama Hansu is screaming his head off because his sister nearly took him out instead of the target. Ravis reads them like an open book. One is drowning in arrogance while the other is completely soaked in pessimism. That is a toxic cocktail waiting to explode. Ravis dances through the chaos, parrying their relentless assault with elite precision. He is purely outclassing them. Meanwhile, the sibling rivalry is hitting a boiling point, as Hansu swings his spiked wrecking ball way too close for comfort, nearly crushing his sister. Hanyang snaps, barely dodging her brother's reckless slop. Ravis keeps downloading data on these hybrids, genuinely stunned. What kind of dark steroid did Mara pump into them to reach this power level? The tag team match dissolves into a twisted contest, as Hansu roasts his injured sister, swearing on his life he will be the one to slice out Ravis's tongue. Hanyang claps back with her own dark ambition, betting she will be the one to sever his neck first. But Ravis ghosts an attack in a microsecond, leaving Hanyang completely shook. Hansu keeps yapping, claiming Ravis is his kill. Steel clashes against steel in a violent gridlock. As Ravis is stuck playing defense against the dual onslaught, Hanyang's face twists into a lethal glare, whispering death threats. While swinging with zero chill, Ravis realizes his tank is running empty. He cannot tank them both like this. Time for a petty mind game. Ravis shouts a calculated taunt, asking if their big sister is actually the strong one. Bait taken. Hansu detonates in a rage, screaming he was born 18 minutes before her. He completely loses his cool abandoning strategy to launch a blind suicidal charge at Ravis, who is surprised that simple trigger worked so well. Hanyang screams at her brother, calling him a brainless moron, warning him he is walking right into close quarters range, but he ignores her, yelling he will drag Ravis's corpse to their mother first. Ravis watches, the attacks get wild and sloppy, a confident smirk cutting across his face, as his opponent steps right into the kill zone. Elsewhere, Street stares down Mara, voicing deep disgust for the sorceress she used to idolize. She let greed twist her into this hideous abomination. Mara is practically vibrating with rage at the disrespect, and screams right in Street's face, calling her a vulgar, low-tier bug. Street takes a brutal hit, but fights through the pain to signal Cyan it is go time. As he rushes toward the magic circle, Cyan screams in agony, his body ravaged by waves of scorching heat while trying to reach Minha, followed by bone-chilling cold. Groaning through the torture, he locks eyes on the unconscious Minha, begging her to wake up. Street is in a death match with Mara, vowing to hold the line no matter the cost, urging Cyan to move faster. But Cyan lets out a gut-wrenching scream, staring down at his trembling, blood-soaked hands. Despair crashes over him like a wave. He realizes with crushing regret that he is just a human powerless to save her. Suddenly, a memory of his friends flashes in his mind. Even through the suffocating despair, a spark of determination ignites. He screams defiance at his own weakness, swearing to save Minha as he throws a desperate haymaker punch. His fist slams into the magic barrier. At that exact moment, Mara slams Street into the dirt, eliciting a sharp cry of pain. Mara sneers, asking if she should stop pretending to be a clumsy beast. Street feels the overwhelming pressure of her opponent, a power that is absolutely massive despite her decaying vessel. Is this the might of the 12 Dark Thrones? Mara keeps the trash talk coming, and launches a vicious assault. Street is thrown back, wounded, and pinned to the wall by a flurry of lethal stabs, groaning as the pain tears through her. Mara pivots her focus to Cyan, commanding him to witness the fate of the one she called scum. Street screams in pure panic, begging Cyan to run for his life. But in a blink, Cyan is struck and tossed to the floor, where a slimy demonic sludge coils around him, completely paralyzing him. Mara flashes a wicked, sadistic grin, telling him he is next on the menu for nourishment. She orders him to wait his turn while Cyan groans, realizing his body is on total lockdown. Knowing she has burned too much daylight, Mara begins the final ritual with thunderous incantations. Mara swears on the soul-cutting blade, forsaking her mortal shell, to summon the flame of greed, tearing open a path that defies the laws of life itself. The pact is sealed. Minha's eyes snap open, glowing with an eerie purple light, signaling the ritual is complete. Ravis senses the massive spike in magical energy and knows exactly what just went down. His sword Damrakal ignites with a crimson flame. Even in the heat of combat with the twins, Ravis is forced to parry their synchronized strikes. Hanyang lunges, screaming she will be the one to claim the glory of eliminating him first. But out of nowhere, magical threads materialize, completely cocooning her brother. Hansu hits the deck, bound and gagged. Hansu is paralyzed, totally helpless. Out of thin air, Beltia materializes, throwing serious shade at the bound villain for daring to mess with the guy she claims is their big bro Ravis. Meanwhile, pure nightmare fuel leaks from Mara, a dark demonic sludge slithering right into Minha as she lies trapped in the ritual circle. The goo forces its way down her throat, sealing the deal. Minha's eyes snap open, flashing a wicked, triumphant grin, announcing she has finally scored the ultimate vessel. Mara's old shell collapses like a sack of potatoes, totally lifeless, while the new Minha rises practically drunk on power. She is vibing with the fresh skin, overwhelmed by pure dark ecstasy. She swears she is going to rock this beauty for eternity. Zion and Street, they just scream, watching this horrific glow-up unfold. Ravis clocks the horror show, but wham! Hanyang blindsides him, laughing at how easily he got distracted. Fury explodes in Ravis's chest. He realizes he is too late, the shadows have already claimed her. Beltia is lurking, totally swooning over his new look, whispering brother, while Ravis is barely dodging lethal combos. She tries to hype herself up, scolding her own hesitation since her brother is in imminent danger. But she freezes. If she steps out now, Ravis will inevitably see her. The cringe is too real, she is dying of embarrassment just thinking about it. But she realizes she can not just stand there, away from keyboard. She is pacing, totally spiraling over what she should do next. Hansu is still tied up and gagged. Hanyang spins around, confused, trying to figure out who just floored her brother. Ravis seizes the opening boom. He lunges, landing a massive heavy hit that catches Hanyang completely off guard. Hansu hits the dirt, finally free. Mara, wearing Minha's face, saunters over to him, curious why he is acting so weird. Hansu scrambles up, screaming his head off. Where did that little creep come from? Mara finally senses the little rat hiding nearby. Hansu ignores it, desperate to know. Did you pull off the possession? Mara strikes a pose, looking playful and fresh, asking, well, am I gorgeous or what? Hansu nods, confirming the transformation is total. She is unrecognizable. Zion watches, heart sinking. Mara has got the body. It looks like it is officially game over. But Street screams Master Ravis. Wait, she drops a bombshell. There is still a chance. Minha's soul is not gone yet. Ravis pauses, confused. Street explains fast. It is the night of the moonless sky. A night when the walls between worlds are paper-thin and supernatural contracts are at their absolute weakest. She confirms Mara's download will not be complete until the night ends, which means Minha is still in there fighting. Suddenly, Minha's ghostly avatar glitches out of her possessed body, screaming, Ravis, help. My body is moving on its own. Save me. Ravis freezes, that is really her. But Mara just throws her head back and laughs, loving the drama. She mocks him. Doesn't my voice sound exactly like hers? The disrespect is off the charts. Ravis is seething at the mockery. Mara yawns, bored now. All right, kids, she declares. Kill them all. Hansu jumps into action, hyped up. I am finding that rat and ending it too, he vows. Ravis is boiling over. He cannot believe he is getting humiliated by these low-tier hybrids. Meanwhile, Mara slides toward Street. Kept you waiting, huh, she purrs, declaring it is time to eat and level up. She glares at Street and Zion, wondering which one to snack on first. Out of nowhere, a mysterious purple sphere rolls up and stops right at Mara's feet. She pauses, totally confused. A tiny demon with glowing red eyes pops out, then boom, the ball explodes right in Mara's face. She shrieks, choking on the smoke. What is this? It reeks. In the chaos, Beltia swoops in and cuts Street loose. Street clocks her immediately. Use it. Now, Beltia commands before dashing over to Zion and shoving a weapon at him. Help our master, Zion just screams, collapsing in pure terror. Street stares. She knows that weapon. How did Beltia get that? Trembling Zion grabs the strange-looking pistol, confused, staring at the steel in his hand, wondering why they trusted him with it. As Zion grips the mysterious gun, Massive purple energy surges through him. Zion screams as the power rips through his veins, feeling his head spin and his heart pounding like a drum solo under the influence of that dark magic. His eyes flare up with a terrifying purple glow. He is gasping for air, dizzy as the energy intensity goes off the charts. Mara, her arm now morphed into a grotesque blade, sneers at him. "Where did you dig up that piece of scrap?" she asks, totally mocking him. While Zion preps his next move, Citri goes full berserk on Mara. But Mara, she parries that blitz like it's nothing. She literally laughs at Citri's blade, calling it a cheap toy. She's like, "You really think that piece of plastic is gonna flip the script on this fight?" Citri claps back, eyes blazing. "It ain't the weapon, it's the skills behind it." Mara roars, totally convinced she's already won. She looks down on Citri like she's some low-tier trash mob demon. Just a waste of space. But Citri isn't having it. She snarls back. That's rich coming from someone who sold her soul just to feed her own greed. Mara pauses. Okay, that one stung, but she shrugs it off. Doesn't matter. She'll just consume everything anyway. Suddenly, a swarm of jagged demonic tentacles explodes outward, barreling straight for Citri. She's cornered. The shadows are getting thicker, heavier, and she realizes with a sinking feeling, her blade can't slice through them anymore. Citri's panic sets in. Mara is syncing up with Minha's body way too fast. Every second wasted is a death sentence. The longer this drags on, the closer they are to getting wiped out. Mara licks her lips, eyeing Citri like a 5-star meal. She wonders aloud just how savory a fresh demon soul tastes. Then Citri spots it. A glowing spiritual tether connecting Mara's current vessel, all the way back to Han Yongju's corpse. It hits her instantly. Minha is still human. She can't handle Mara's full voltage yet. Citri lunges, aiming to sever that lifeline, hooked to the old body. If she can smash the magic circle, guarding the corpse, she might just crash the whole ritual. Meanwhile, Zion is finally catching his breath, recovering from that power surge. The energy buzzes in his veins. He stares at the gun in his grip, totally confused, wondering what the hell he's supposed to do with this thing. Suddenly, his vision sharpens. He sees the tentacles, anchored right into Yongju's protected corpse, and click, everything makes sense. The soul transfer isn't finished. That magic circle isn't just decoration. It's a firewall keeping the old body safe until the download hits 100%. Zion feels a spark of hope. They've got one shot. If he breaks that circle, he breaks the spell. Zion's eyes shift. Suddenly, the glowing runes aren't just magic, they're geometry. Crystal clear 3D structures. And geometry. That's just math waiting to be solved. The entire spell is built on raw numbers. It's an equation. That circle is the server maintaining the link between the corpse and Minha. To kill it, he has to solve the complex formula holding it together. He needs the flaw. Zion's brain goes into overdrive. He spots the core, a cubic polynomial, and traces the mana flow, writing an S-curve trajectory. The seal's heart is hiding right at the curve's peak value. He needs the derivative. He's doing calculus in real time. Citri glances over, totally baffled. Is Zion decoding the spell? It has to be Beltia's gift, giving him this insane decoder vision. Mara notices the distraction and snaps, lunging forward, screaming about crushing the little rat. While Zion crunches the numbers, Citri grits her teeth, barely holding back Mara's assault. She has to buy him time. Zion goes deep, tuning out the world to translate the magic structure into mathematical matrices. There. The main vector is a symmetric matrix. A surge of pure adrenaline hits him. He knows if he isolates the eigenvalue, he exposes the seal's only blind spot. He clenches his jaw, locking it in. A twisted, triumphant grin spreads across his face, equations streaming through his glowing eyes. Gotcha. He's found the critical point. Target acquired. Zion whips that mysterious pistol up and aims dead center at the circle. He pulls the trigger. A massive beam of purple oblivion screams out, total destruction incoming. The beam drills straight into the spell's core, triggering a blinding white-hot explosion that rocks the entire chamber. The shockwave blasts Mara backward like a ragdoll, screaming in total disbelief. How did he hack her? Magic. Zion throws his head back, laughing hysterically. The math never lies, and his formula just solved her existence. But his mortal frame can't handle the overload. He hits the dirt, lights out, barely whispering that the formula worked. The magic circle shatters. Mara is absolutely livid. The transfer is stuck at 99%. She's cursing these primitive humans for wrecking her ritual. Street sees her opening and doesn't hesitate. She shouts that Sion played his part to perfection, and now it's her turn to finish it. She sprints, straight for Yeonju's original vessel. Mara shrieks, panic rising. She knows exactly what Street is planning. The demon lunges to intercept, but Street is faster. She unleashes a savage strike, slicing through the spiritual cords binding the two bodies. Mara howls in agony, blind with rage. She blindly throws a haymaker, and connects Street, gets slammed into the pavement. Mara is losing it, screaming that her plan can't end like this. She's raving about her noble form, terrified of losing even a single scrap of her stolen divinity. From the dirt, Street claps back. She tells the witch that greed is like a heavy branch. Eventually, it snaps under its own weight. And when it breaks, only filth clings to the wreckage. Mara snaps, calling Street a low-life monster, and swearing to crunch her bones into dust. But Street, she doesn't even flinch. She just smirks, telling Mara that she and her greed are gonna burn together. Then boom, Ravis steps onto the battlefield, dripping with dark energy. He's dragging the unconscious bodies of the twins like trash bags. Street calls out to him, while Mara stares totally dumbfounded. Hansu stammers an apology to Mommy Dearest, explaining that this bastard suddenly leveled up out of nowhere. Right after inhaling some mysterious red mist, Mara freezes jaw on the floor. That smoke was the trigger. Flashback time. We see Beltia stepping into the fray earlier. She remembers snagging a vial of Ravis's blood back when he was locked up in the demon world. High risk, high reward. She planned to hoard that precious sample forever, but desperate times called for desperate measures. Especially after Bambi dropped the intel that Ravis's new vessel was packed with special magic bloodstones. The theory: if Ravis absorbed his original blood, it would jumpstart his system and unlock his true potential. Beltia gambled everything on her brother, accepting the gift and going full demon prince mode again. And oh, did it work? Ravis felt a rush of power he hadn't tasted in centuries. Seeing this power spike, Mara snaps. She turns on her own kids, screaming in their faces. She calls them worthless failures for getting stomped by a single opponent. Ravis doesn't let them bicker. He blitzes them, one hand choking Hansu, the other crushing Hanyung's neck. The twins shriek in agony, burning every ounce of mana they have just to break his grip. Even battered and bruised, Hansu tries to act tough, sarcastically thanking his mom, and promising to kill Ravis for real this time. Hanyung screams, raising her weapon for a desperate dive bomb. But Mara interrupts. She just can't wrap her head around it. Why? Why would Ravis Bendika, the demon prince, risk it all for some random human girl? She mocks him, pointing out Minha isn't even his blood sister. Ravis just gives a chilling smile. You want a reason. It's the cake. He drops the line with zero hesitation, leaving Mara completely flabbergasted. He explains that the slice his sister fed him didn't taste like earth food. It tasted like salvation. A flavor from the heavens. Hansu loses it. Are you kidding me? A demon waxing poetic about the celestial world? Ravus shoots back. Have you two ever shared a slice? Hanyung snaps, veins popping. She screams that she'd rather smash a cake into her brother's face than share it. Talk about toxic sibling energy. Bam Ravis backhands her for that comment, making her scream. It's like he's disciplining a bratty child. He licks the blood spray off his lip, looking absolutely feral. Hanyung stares back, eyes burning with pure hate. Suddenly we cut to a dark memory, the root of their twisted psyches. We see little Hanyung showing off perfect test scores. Little Hansu scrubbing floors till they sparkle. But their mother, she just glared, screamed at them, told them to drink water if they were hungry. She slammed the door in their faces, calling them useless trash. No matter how hard they tried, it was never enough. Cut to a cafe. The mother is complaining that her kids are ruining her vibe, glaring at a happy little girl nearby. Hansu notices the glare. Mom, do you hate that girl? Without a word, little Hanyung stands up and trips the innocent kid, sending her drink flying just to get a reaction from her mother. Chaos erupts, but the mother, she rushes in, putting on an Oscar-worthy performance of fake sympathy to trick the crowd. But while she's playing nice, she's whispering toxic threats, bribing the girl with a shopping spree to buy her silence. Once they're clear of the drama, the mask drops. She hugs Hanyung, beaming like a proud parent, calling that twisted violence wonderful. Hanyung lights up, desperate for that crumb of validation. Seeing this, Hansu gets jealous. He wants a piece of that toxic affection too. He begs for a turn to be the villain next time. Mom gives a cold nod, and the ugly truth hits Hanyung like a truck. The formula is simple. Torment Mom's rivals, get a gold star. Smash someone Mom hates. Jackpot. Flashback to their messed up childhood, Mom grilling a tiny Hanyung, asking why she's so good at hurting people. Does she follow every order? The kid nods, yes, while fresh blood drips off her blade. Cut to another memory, Hanyung standing over a corpse, swearing loyalty. She's just a weapon. Mom grabs her, grinning like a demon, and demands another kill for the collection. No hesitation. Hanyung agrees instantly, realizing the transaction deep in her soul. Violence is the only currency for her mother's love. Snap back to the present. Ravis licks the blood off his lip with a dark smirk. Mara, he sneers. You sure raised these psychos right? That hit a nerve. The twins lose it, screaming death threats, fighting over dibs on who gets to end him. Mara joins the scream fest, eyes bulging with rage, ordering them to execute him right now. Just wipe him out. Ravis watches the family drama with ice-cold amusement. Real demons, he thinks. What a show. Then he snaps. A blur of motion, a heavy impact, and blood sprays the walls. He slams them into the dirt. He reaches out, acknowledging their monster status. You're real demons, all right. So you're qualified to die by my hand. Mara freezes. The look in his eyes shifts into something terrifying. It's the eyes of Barkhan, the legendary battlefield nightmare. Meanwhile, Hansu is shrieking in agony. Hanyung snaps at him for being sloppy. Ravis laughs, worried about Big Bro. Hansu explodes, throwing his sister under the bus. You useless trash, you didn't protect me. Hanyung vibrates with rage at the insult. The sibling rivalry turns lethal. Hansu threatens to gut her first, if she doesn't take Ravis down instantly. Ravis watches the meltdown sword raised, enjoying the chaos. He goads them on, then capitalizes on their dysfunction. He blindsides Hansu from the rear. Steel meets flesh. A fatal strike. Hansu hits the deck, hacking up Crimson. Dying breath spent calling for mommy. But Mara, she screams, you useless bastard, failure until the end. She barks at Hanyung to leave the dying trash and keep fighting. Hanyung agrees, coldly ignoring her brother's pleading eyes. Mara steps over her own son, shrieking at Ravis to just die already. Ravis knows one is down, but Mara is nearing her final form. A flash of Minha's smile hits his mind. If he stalls now, she's gone forever. His eyes blaze. It's do or die time. He wonders if his human limits will hold, then decides to bet it all. He grabs Hanyung's bare blade. It slices his palm, blood gushing. He ignores it, lunging in for a desperate grapple. He clamps onto her neck, teeth sinking deep. Hanyung unleashes a blood-curdling scream. He goes full vampire mode. Mara stares, paralyzed with shock. What the hell is this? Hanyung collapses, shrieking. Ravis isn't just biting, he's draining her dry. He's siphoning every drop of blood and energy, pushing his human vessel to the breaking point. He needs to overload his system for one massive explosive attack. Mara senses the spike in power and panics. She screams, stay back, but it's too late. Ravis launches a blitz attack she can't even track. She roars, why won't you die? Ravis grits his teeth, muscles straining, struggling to contain the surge. It's too much for a human body. He feels like he's tearing apart at the seams. Bones creaking, soul fracturing. But through the agony, pure adrenaline, the ecstasy of absolute power, this is what he needed. Mara sees the end coming. Her grand plan is crumbling. She screams for a ceasefire. Ravis ignores her pleas. He lands a catastrophic blow, smashing her into the dirt, leaving her coughing in agony. His grip locks around her throat like a vice-instant chokehold. She's screeching, thrashing against him, yelling, the audacity, get your hands off me right now. Ravis doesn't even blink. Game over, he says, voice dead calm. I just severed your lifeline. Mara goes ballistic, screaming that there's no way she's getting taken out by a nobody like him. He drops a final ultimatum, vacate Minhua's body voluntarily, and he might just let her walk away with her life. That stops her cold. She didn't expect a deal. Ravis doubles down, swearing on his full name, Ravis Bendika. He stakes his reputation on the honor of his father, the great demon king himself. But you can practically see the gears turning in Mara's head. She clocks it instantly. He's terrified she'll trash the host body if she goes down fighting. That's his weakness, and she's about to exploit the hell out of it. Logic check, if she survives this, she can just snatch a new vessel later. A wicked, triumphant grin spreads across her face. Toss the weapon she commands, totally convinced his family pride has him cornered into telling the truth. She tells him he's got zero options. Drop the steel and she's gone. Clang. Ravis flings his sword aside and towers over Mara. Now. Get out, he barks. Mara actually listens, and her dark, twisted soul starts peeling away from Minhua's body. She's spitting curses the whole way out. But the second she's clear, gotcha. Ravis snatches her soul out of the air, crushing it until she screams in agony. Pure shock washes over her. His arm isn't human anymore. It's morphed into a massive, real-deal demonic limb. Ravis hits her with a mocking smirk. Truth is, he admits, I had no clue how to extract you safely. Then the roast. You're surprisingly gullible for a member of the 12 Black Seats. Mara's soul freezes in total disbelief before exploding into a shriek of pure, unadulterated rage. She can't process it, he lied on his father's name. But Ravis delivers the coldest line of the century. I only care about my honor. Pure terror grips her as her soul literally writhes in his hand, screaming that she isn't ready to bail on her new body yet, and demanding he let her go. Ravus stares down at Mara's glitching soul, hitting her with a cold smirk, and telling her she looks absolutely pathetic like this. A shriek of pure panic rips through the air as Mara breaks down, begging Ravus for just an ounce of mercy. She's bargaining hard, swearing she'll be his loyal puppet, but Ravus isn't buying it, as he raises a hand ready to crush her existence, that has morphed into a monstrous demonic claw. Suddenly, the battered Han-Yong stumbles up from the dirt. Mara lights up, screaming at the girl to end this bastard right now. Han-Yong raises her blood-soaked weapon high, and locks in for the kill, but then insanity. Her own brother Hansu drives a blade into her back, jeering at her, and asking if she's really trying to hog all the glory for herself again. Talk about toxic sibling energy. He swears he'll never let that slide, then he collapses right alongside her, and just like that, she's gone. Mara loses it. She's screaming in disbelief, cursing Han-Yong for throwing away her literal last shot at survival. Ravus eyes her soul with zero warmth, pointing out the irony that she cried for her mommy but died like a total joke. Desperate, Mara switches up her tactic, swearing she won't. She actually tries to pull the family card, claiming she and his mother were basically sisters back in the day. She insists Enos treated her so sweetly, frantically trying to manipulate him into feeling sorry for her. Street steps up furious, asking how Mara can call herself a mother when she only cared about saving her own skin until the very end. Her kids are dead, and Mara just shrugs it off, screaming that she can always just breed more of them. Ruthless. She turns back to beg Ravis, but he's done listening. He slashes through her soul without a second thought, remarking that her legacy as one of the 12 black seats is officially trash now. Mara lets out a final agonizing groan, cursing Ravis as she fades, unable to process the humiliation he's dealt her. And her last bitter thought is that she was taken down by the son of her arch-rival Enos. She shrieks that she refuses to die, vowing to kill him first. Ravis just stomps on the remnants of her soul, deleting her forever. He absorbs the overflow of her soul energy into his eye, standing calmly among the carnage, and declaring the nightmare finished. Street gives him props, and Ravis admits he feels a massive surge of power, flowing through him after absorbing a 12 Black Seats member. But something feels off. He covers his nose with a handkerchief, disgusted by the foul stench Mara left behind, admitting, this boss fight dragged on way too long. Street walks over to the twins' bodies, looking heartbroken, wondering aloud if these kids could have had a happy life if Mara had just stayed in her own lane. Ravis hits her with a cold truth there's no way to know. He glances over at Minho's unconscious form, thinking that even if the parents aren't literal demons, kids always end up paying the price for their greed. Meanwhile, Belchia is lurking in the background, realizing it's time to bounce after spotting Ravis in Street. Too late. Ravis spots her and commands her to show herself. She yelps in panic, trying to duck back into cover. Ravus isn't playing. He tells her to quit hiding. She steps out frantically, begging him to pretend she isn't there. Ravus gives her a sharp look. Beltia. He's actually shocked. Is this really the legendary weapon maker of the demon world, Beltia, the youngest of the noble Murtano clan? The prodigy rumored to appear only once every 3,000 years in the art of crafting weapons. The girl who had her family wrapped around her finger. He demands to know why she's stalking him. Beltia stammers, denying everything. She claims Bambi told her she was supposed to be a gift for him. Then she tries to bolt, yelling that the surprise party is over. Ravis watches her scramble away, recalling that Beltia was always the most reckless, stuck-up diva of the noble families, and was infamous for being obsessed with Lord Ravis, a total stan. But something isn't adding up. Why is she wearing Jinjaehe's face? Then it hits him. That scumbag Bambi is behind this. He must have shoved Beltia's soul into Jinjaehe's body, just to make this mess even more complicated.